Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce Lombardo, and with me today is the lovely Janet from another planet. This is
Hello.
a girl, a guy, and a movie, G.I. Jane edition, and me and Janet just finished watching it less than 10 minutes ago.
hmm
Thank you for those of you in our Discord that decided to jump in, Mr. Six Nation 31 Kings, and Felix. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Janet, you selected this movie,
hmm
and did you see this back when it came out?
I think I did. I think I did see it at the
See it in
theater.
theaters?
hmm
Theaters are on home video.
I don't remember exactly. I think I saw it at the theater, but I'm not 100%. But I went with a bunch of other people, you know,
Okay. This
friends.
is a, this is a movie directed by Ridley Scott, and I have a feeling about Ridley Scott, and I my feeling is he should just put the camera down and stop. Just fucking stop. Like the signs were there in '96 that he could retire on a high note,
Because he
and
had
there may
made
be
Alien and Thelma and Louise.
Blade Runner, Black Rain,
He'd made a lot of other movies
good
before
movies
that.
too.
hmm
Um, I just I don't I don't understand how you can go from the heights of picking up Alien from Walter Hill and then you can just start sliding down because we watched Blade Runner
hmm
and I realized like I like the original theatrical cut of Blade Runner a hell of a lot more than the sanitized director's cut and even much more than the fucking final cut. And I don't ever want to watch either of those again. I'm perfectly happy with a stereotypical Harrison Ford god awful narration because I just want that with my Blade Runner. Alien, they should never touch. I'm never going to buy a 4K collection. If I can find the VHS copy of something, I'll get that. Which is why I don't mind ripping movies off of Russia servers because their resolution's shit, and I'm okay with that. It helps preserve the illusion. You need special
Yeah.
effects or color correction or something in there. Just give me the ugly raw transfers, the old dailies from the '90s. I'll be happy.
hmm
Papa Cotton's like, I can't believe this movie's on anyone's list. Ugh, what a stinker. And hello to the crafting gamer. How are you, sir? Um, this movie's got Demi Moore in it.
hmm
And I think the first movie I ever saw her in was About Last Night.
Yeah.
That's not a bad movie. And then she did a few other films. She did a Esmeralda character for the Disney film where she was the assistant to the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I don't think I saw that one. The last movie I saw her in was Mr. Brooks. Remember that one? She was a detective.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was the last movie I remember paying money to see her in.
I I like Demi Moore as an actress. I don't know her as a person. I don't care who she's married to, if it's Bruce Willis or if it's the young guy from that '70s show. I don't give a shit. My
I
my
don't think they were married. I think they just dated.
it it's none of my concern at all. Like I like most men, I fapped off to her during strip tease because I think that was the purpose, and she wanted to
Mhm.
flex that she was still part of a CIA asset, and that really came to light with this movie here
Mhm.
because the CIA keyed up. All right, here we go into fucking conspiracyville. Buckle up, kids. Janet, you like this film a lot, right? Why don't we get your fucking opinion first? Because
Well,
God,
my when I first saw it, I didn't really know or expect. I didn't know what to expect. It was a woman going through boot camp. Basically, that's what I thought. But I didn't realize it was an elite boot camp. For our best of the best, supposedly in our military. But the thing is, when I watched it and I saw how politics was trying to make changes in our military, I didn't agree with that. I think that's wrong, and I still do. I don't agree that politics should be swapping, making deals, and things like that on who gets to go to training and who doesn't, things like that, because it shouldn't be that way. It should be based on what they offer and whether they're going to make the military better. That's how I see it. Because it's
back in the 90s,
not
I'm
their
going to interject. Hold on.
Mhm.
We both endured this because you were a military wife and I was Navy myself. Your husband was part of the Sea Service. The service got infested by political pieces of shit that forced our military to change its policies because for the longest time, sodomy was considered a cultural no-no. And it really didn't seem to affect civilian side, but the military side is a little bit different cultural animal. So you need to have everybody be able to trust each other. And there was about a decade and a half of political upheaval from the mid 90s to almost 2010, where gays in the military were still pretty much seen as like a complete fucking outlier. Now you have this every time that culture shits on the military, and I hate to say that, but when we first started allowing blacks to take actual roles within the military, like actual MOS, is not just being field or food service attendants, you had a huge amount of racism up and down the chain towards the blacks, and it took a very long time for that to become normal, to where they were considered soldiers in green or sailors in blue instead of that's just a black person. Now, mind you, the entire paradigm has shifted because of cultural Marxism, and cultural termites have eroded everything. So the military is still ran by the black female. And if you don't think that's a factual statement, that's fine, but you're wrong. If you want to go anywhere to any base, you can make fun of anybody you want, but a fucking minority female. And the moment you do that, you're on report. And they've got you in their sights, and they're going to fucking brand you as a racist. Because if you aren't fucking kissing their little ass for validating that they're as a minority, as a woman, I'm here, and blah, 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 then obviously you are going up on report. But I served through the introduction of the Clinton bullshit, which was started by the Bush.
The don't ask, don't tell. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely.
Yeah.
I served through that. I remember
seeing that on the news and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fucking fallout that happened because of all that shit was just beyond the fucking that was beyond the pale. And I didn't like it because it meant going into an environment where no matter what, the things that you were joining up for were being systematically removed. Like they got rid of hazing, they got rid of pretty much an environment where like you were going to get the shit beat out of you, but once you did, you were in the club. And I hate to say that, but I was a weak fucking 18-year-old kid. I mean, I'm still pretty weak, but I was a weak 18-year-old kid when I served up in the military, and I wanted to be something a lot more than what I was. A lot of people go into service just for that. They're like, I want to be something more. I want to be molded into a fucking weapon, or I want to be able to fucking kill with my bare hands, or I want to be able to do shit. I myself, I want to become a journalist and become a badass journalist and be able to fucking run around with a fucking camera. And that was why I served. It didn't really happen that way. So, hey, I'm out. But the thing is that the military went through this horrible fucking reconstruction, and this movie feels like it's following the CIA playbook of trying to shift cultural narratives. And
I don't see that at all. I see it totally opposite.
And that's fine. I mean, to me, this movie felt like Gloria Allred was there behind fucking Ridley Scott for the script writing of it. And she's there, like, hey, we gotta make sure that we have this complete woman beating scene. I want you to rewrite the woman beating scene from True Romance that James Gandolfini gives Patricia Arquette. And I want you to do that again with Viggo Mortensen. He'll soon be America's sweetheart, so we got to do this now while he's an unknown, Because once
But
you become
see,
Aragorn,
if they had gone through the whole thing, where she was in the separate barracks and she had a separate shower and she had a separate bathroom and they had step stools for her out on the combat, program, where they had to crawl around on the ground and get shot at. And she had someone there helping her load her gun and helping her put her gun together and doing all the stuff for her, because they had to lower the standards so she could pass, then yes, I'd agree. But they didn't. That the whole aspect that I remember from this movie, because you can remember, I was an Air Force brat. Okay. My dad was in the military. I went with him when he did a lot of stuff. He showed me things, what they did for jungle survival, how they had to rappel from towers and do the parachutes and roll their own parachutes and stuff up and make sure everything was ready for them to go out and do training. And I didn't get to go see any of the training, but I did see some of the movies and some of the manuals and different things like that he passed out to his students and stuff. So I understood that they had to do a lot of studying on top of the actual physical stuff that they were doing to pass the survival training. And that's not even boot camp or whatever, like this training was. There was like a boot camp to become
this
a
is more like a C school or
elite forces
school.
training or something like that is what I got from it. But I liked the aspect of showing how they were showing that politics was involved. And that's the only reason she was put in. See what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because a politician was wanting to get votes, they set it up somehow by her pulling someone's chains to be able to get a woman in it. Now, what the whole thing is later on, after you see this girl, this woman, young woman, get in there, and because she's so stubborn and pissed, and she is physically fit because they show her doing all the different aspects of, physical training parts, to get in there, and you knew she was already ready when it came to the parts about satellites and computers and things like that, because that's what her job was already in the military, right? So she picks her because she looks more feminine, right? Not because she looked like the Ox woman, the first one they looked at, because she was worried. We didn't realize this. We thought she was just doing it because they wanted someone that looked not butch. Right? They wanted a real looking woman.
Wait. You don't want a female Custodes?
Well, remember the picture looked like a Russian what do you call it? Fighter, like a Russian boxer or something like that. She just was really huge, a big woman, which would probably be able to go through boot camp or something like that pretty easily because she was very strong and stout. And she looked like she was built like a man. That's why she didn't want to.
Not like the buff and Russians built female.
Well, those look feminine. Those women in the pictures you're showing are feminine looking. She didn't want someone that looked too manly. Like the dwarf women do in the games that we play. They're manly looking. They have beards and they're just tougher. They could kick a regular human's ass. The women. You fight another woman to get her ass kicked. So the politician in the movie that wanted to get the woman and was trying to win votes to help her keep those military bases. That's what she was doing. She was scaring them, saying, if you pull my bases, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, she was like playing games with the military, which is, I don't agree with. I've told you that many times.
We both agree games are not fun, but
no, I mean,
every fucking pile of shit in Washington uses them as a pawn. That's
and I don't agree with that. And I don't agree, and I've said it many times on our show, that I don't agree they should lower the standards for anyone. A police officer, a fireman, a paramedic, nurse, a teacher, any job that's going to train other people or put other people's jobs or lives at risk, you shouldn't lower the standards. I don't care if it's a woman, a man, a black, Hispanic, Caucasian. I don't care who you are. If they have to lower the standards to put you in it, then why are you even trying out for that job? You see, you shouldn't get that job. You shouldn't make the same amount of money if you can't do the job without them lowering the standards for you. Period.
See,
so that's what I liked about this agenda for this movie was that they were trying to show a woman that was picked because they didn't think she could make it because she was too feminine looking, but her tenacity and her physical fitness and her personality, everything about her made her strong and made her want to be a winner. So when she was in there and got in the training and she went farther and farther and farther, they were shocked that she was still in there. So they had to end up making it look like she was probably a lesbian and she was fraternizing with other officers in the military to get her taken out of the training course, because they wanted her out, because she had already done her purpose for the politics part. So they put a scandal out there so she would be taken off the team, and she'd already got the bases, so she didn't care. But because of her stubbornness and her tenaciousness, she confronted the politician and was telling her, well, if you're going to fuck me over, I'm going to fuck you over by going public. That's what she was going to do. And I like that. I thought that was great. I wish more people would spill the beans on some of these crooked politicians, and maybe we'd be better off. We definitely wouldn't be in the shithole we're in right now, the way our government is and our military, and I feel bad for the guys in the military. That one guy that you got me to watch a few times, I can't remember his name, the master sergeant guy that does the boot camp guy, the one who wears the Marine hat and everything. He does
You're talking about Angry Cops.
Oh, is that what it is? Well,
Angry
he's
Cops
great. And I love him. I think he's great. And everything he says is right. If they have to lower the standards and put kid gloves on, how are you supposed to make soldiers that are worth taking over and fighting in a war? You can't. You can't do that shit. It's bullshit. Because the other people aren't. They're not going to do that. They're not going to walk in and say, "Oh, am I hurting your feelings?" Well,
you're going to have 70,000 Chinese kids sign up for the military. If they get told, you get to go to war with America and rape America's female soldiers, males if you want to, because they'll take a dick in the ass too.
Yeah, and they believe it.
There'll be so many fucking people in countries that hate us, where they've been propagated to hate us, because we've done shitty things overseas. Okay, let's not mince words. We've done things that are really not nice, but at the same time, I'm going to defend our boys on the global war of terrorism. When our guys go over to Afghanistan and we stay there for over 10 years and we have a fucking massacre count of like 50,000 dead or critically fucking injured terrorist belligerents that we make every fucking year, and they have to do mustering, they have to recruit seasonally, they have to fucking go out and grab fucking sheep herders and untrained belligerents and give them an AK-47, and then for fucking 12, 15, 17 years, our boys are over there kicking ass, and then we fucking leave. The fucking media explodes like, oh my God, look, America got their ass kicked. We walked into fucking houses in Afghanistan day in and day out for fucking thousands of times every year, beat the fuck out of people, shot people up. People would run around their house, hide like little cunts, hide like little bitches, and we would shoot the fuck out of them, and we killed them very fucking well. But then, because our politicians completely fuck over every war effort, God bless you, Schwarzkopf, I miss you. We have these fucking communist pieces of shit, revisionist history bastards that go out there and they scream and yell that America lost, America lost. Motherfucker, we got a pile bigger than Mount Everest of dead bodies that we made out of the global war on terror. Go fuck yourself. And if you're a communist,
that's what I'm saying. It's the politicians that do that. It's the politicians that want us to look bad. Ever since I won't say his name, but the person we have in office right now, I haven't seen anything that he's done besides weaken our country, period. Not one thing has he done that makes us stronger. You know what I'm saying? And that's one reason why a couple weeks ago when I first picked this movie, the reason I wanted to watch it is because of this thing that I'm talking about. They pushed the agenda to not lower the standards, that if a woman was going to be in this team, she should be able to pass right alongside the men, or she shouldn't get that position. Because how is a man supposed to fight alongside a woman that he thinks he has to take care of the whole time? If the woman can kick ass and he sees her kicking ass out there side by side with him, sweating like a pig, getting shot at, falling down, breaking bones, covered with bruises, all the same thing, and that person's able to do the job, that guy's going to know that she's got his back. And she's going to feel the same way about him. If you have to put this woman in there and let her run through, whatever, I wouldn't want her on my team either. See, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what this movie to me is. To me, that's the agenda that this movie pushed. And I like that. I think that I wish more people felt this way.
I think you fell for it. I do. I love
did.
your bit, but
this was way back when I first watched it.
This
back
movie,
in 97 or 98, whenever it was it came out.
This movie was partially written by David Twohy.
Mm-hmm.
David Twohy is an interesting individual.
I don't know who that is.
He's an actor, director, producer. He's best known for the writer for Pitch Black and the writer for Riddick. He's a sci-fi writer. Okay. This movie
Riddick was great.
This movie feels like it's science fiction because they don't lower the standards for female.
Because
the first thing our
are a military guy.
The first thing this military we've got's going to do, the first thing we'll fucking do is lower standards.
Mm-hmm. They've already done that.
That's the first thing we do. Every time something happens, we lower standards. We have a fucking woman in the military.
In real life, that's what they do. And they're doing it not just in the military, they're doing it for police officers and firemen and paramedics. And if a kid can't make it through school, they're suffering because there's 40-something kids in the classroom and the teacher doesn't have time to help that one student. Well, instead of failing them, they just put him through. So he graduates from high school, can't read or write. And that's the teacher's fault. That's our fault for letting our kids be thrown in the back of the room instead of making our classroom smaller and giving them more teachers, shit like that, to help our kids. All we're doing is coddling everyone. Here, get a trophy, get a trophy, get a trophy. So nobody's qualified to do shit. We're all going to be sitting around going, oh, we need the government to help us because I don't know how to have a job. I don't know how to work. I can't drive. I don't know how to drive. I don't know how to type. I can't do anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know, see, if you went to a restaurant and you found out the chef never went to school and they're bringing your food out and people are getting sick because the food's not cooked properly, the food tastes like shit, how long is that restaurant going to stay open? It's not. But they make you go to a culinary school, right? And you have to be the very best to pass and get this great restaurant here or that. What's the lowest, the guy that doesn't pass? Where does he end up working? A food truck or something, right? You're not going to make the big bucks unless you pass the test. But why do we just do that for our military? It just, to me, there's no common sense. It's like we took common sense out of everything. It's just throw everybody in the mix. Who cares? Just give everybody a trophy. Fuck them. You know, it's like, it's ridiculous. But that's what I got from this movie when it came out because I remember it.
I like the first act of it. I like the first act where they set things up. And Anne Bancroft is a hell of an actress. I think she's great.
Yeah, she played good as a badass politician that wants to screw people for votes. She did a good job. She's very believable.
I thought this movie. I thought she probably turned in one of the better performances of her career, and she's an amazing actress. If you're bored, go through her IMDb and watch Anne Bancroft movies. You're going to be very impressed with what you've missed.
Yeah, she's good. And she was good in that one. Well, wasn't she in that one where she was trying to sleep with her son-in-law or soon-to-be son-in-law or something?
I think so. She's got over 70 film credits. Okay, I can't keep up with everything she did, but I love what she did. I love her film, the films I've seen with her in it. And this movie, she plays a very conniving bitch.
Yes.
If you want to watch somebody play conniving
she's a politician. she's a politician like Nancy Pelosi. Something like that.
Well, the first act is great with her, and I kind of understand where you're coming from with the fact they wanted to set her up to fail. And I mean, I still think that, you know, they did a fairly good job with picking her because I've seen a lot of girls go through military training and fall out or actually make it through. And the ones that make it through, they have to have a head on their shoulders I'm not gonna fucking lose. Go fuck yourself. And they'll get some fucking setbacks and they'll have things happen to them. One of my best friends, Stacy By, she washed out of Air Force training at Lackland because her fucking vagina just couldn't handle the fucking change. That just happens. You know, sometimes women's fucking menstrual periods completely wreck everything else going on, and she was unable to function. She came home, and for 3 weeks she was trying to get her sleep schedule back, and she was waking up she completely melted down. Good friend of mine, and you know, now she's healthy, happy, has a civilian job, never will leave the safe socialist state of Illinois because it's too scary outside of it. But she's learned, you know, she learned where her limits are, and a lot of people have to do that. A lot of people do wash out of the military. This movie illustrates 60% of all SEALs, all buds training washes out, and that's very factual.
The reason they did that, which I thought was good, is because they're trying to show that this is an elite team and they have to whittle you down because they want the very best. Because they need people that are successful and can follow through with commands and do the jobs that they're asked to do, period. No questions asked. And you have to train that into people. People are not born to do that shit. Just like it was that one scene where they're pouring the water on the soldiers.
Doing the waterboarding. One of my favorite scenes.
Okay, but the thing is, they have to do this stuff, tear gas them, do all the different things that they show them what it's like to have an explosion right next to them, things like that, because they can't be freaking out in real combat. So they have to train them the best they can in simulated combat to have them prepared so that they're do well under pressure. That's what I'm talking about. How can you train someone to be on an elite force if you just pussyfoot around with them? You're going to take them out there and they're all going to die and they're not going to help anyone. So you can't lower the standards for one or two people to get them on there because it looks good on paper when you're going to kill all of them. You're taking them all out there to die. A helicopter pilot should be a helicopter pilot because they passed the tests, not because, oh, here's a piece of paper because you got a vagina. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm a woman and I was born with one. Okay. And I don't want them to do that for me. I mean, or anyone else, anyone I love. I don't want to get in a plane with them if they didn't have to take the same class that other person did to be a pilot. I mean, that's common sense. That's what it tells me.
You don't want to get in a Valens plane? You don't want to get in a Richie Valens plane and just smash into the mountain with an untrained pilot?
Hell no.
You don't want that? I can't believe that. You're fucking sexist. Like you,
I guess I am. And I'll wear it as a
Jasmine Crockett, House Rep of fucking Texas, could be flying the plane and she's completely unqualified, but because she's black and from St. Louis, we're going to let her do it, even if she smashes it into the side of the fucking mountain. The first act of this movie is pretty good. I got to give Anne Bancroft a fucking amazing. She does a great performance with this movie, much better than what we have for Mrs. Pelosi, like Six Nations 31 Kings says.
Well, she was the only one that popped in my head when I was talking about crappy, mean ass people that will throw people under the bus to get a couple votes. That's what I was that's what I was meaning.
And just to help you out with, this movie is in the top 2,000 of box office. This is domestic gross, I believe, 48, 169, 156. Number 322 for all the Disney films. There's a lot more that are more recent than that. They're a lot further down that list.
See, I didn't even realize it was a Disney movie until you told me, because I didn't look that up.
I got bored during Act 2 and 3, so I went everywhere. I just I fucking hated this movie. Like this, we have a new low score record, kids.
Well, you have to watch bad movies to know what a good movie is, but I liked this movie. I thought it was very good. And I thought the point of view of it was way different than what you're going to see today. Because today, if you would have made this movie today, there would have been 10 women that made it through. and it wouldn't matter if and probably a few transsexuals or whatever would have been in there, all paid to do well and make them look good, and then they'd go out there and they'd win, even though they went over there and they're like, oh, throwing a grenade or whatever, they would have won and came back, and everybody would have gave them a Purple Hearts or whatever, and they had a parade for them in New York City. That's what this story would have been like if it was made today. Huge difference from the point of view of what this movie came out when it came out, because this movie was totally against letting anybody go to any of these special forces, and lowering the standards was bullshit. And I thought that whole thing, and showing how if a woman could go in there and do the same job, that more men would be more apt to accept that person as a team member. Just like baseball or anything else, if a person goes in there and one person treats this other person better than everybody else, and they always get the best shoes, they get the best everything, then why would the other people take them as a team member? They wouldn't. That's what I'm talking about with this movie. Why I thought it was had a good story, a good thing. And remember, Disney changed this script, not the director. So that's not on the director either. Just like I said, they changed the ending, even though the audiences liked the ending that Ridley Scott made. Disney made them change it. And that's not on Demi Moore or anyone in the movie. That's on Disney, the production people. Just like sometimes the producers and things like that have more sway than they should, because the director's vision is usually the best one. Not always, but usually. So, because remember, she was supposed to die in the end.
Yeah, that was the sad part. This movie got changed because Disney wanted a happy ending. And if you had this movie written today, you'd have proud Navy veterans like Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Tony, Salsa Boy, reelected for Texas District 23. I'm still bitter about it, but you know what? He's an establishment candidate, and he's also a pile of shit, and he's also a Navy veteran, which there's many piles of shit out of the Navy. There's piles of shit out of every branch of service. He's just another one. But if you like to eat your corn cobs the long way, you can sit with him and you can scissor, because that's what he fucking does. And he's going to ruin the border because he's not done a thing for it yet. He got Governor Abbott to come down and politic for him. And then he got the middle of the road, Mike Johnson, whatever the faggot's name is. And he got him to come down and politic for him. And he was so scared, he outspent Brandon Herrera by a fucking ratio of 10-1, because otherwise 407 people would not have voted for him. And it's really weird how we're a border district and we just had less than 1% outvote our boy Brandon Herrera. But I seriously hope this guy dies in a plane crash.
Well, the sad fact is, like what I was saying about politicians, is that even though the border's wide open, this guy hasn't done shit, okay? But because he sucks the right dick, he gets reelected. See, that's what I'm talking about. Politics are ruining cities, schools, the military, pretty much everything. Because if you know the right person, or you give a good hand job or good blow jobs, you get what you want. You get the trophy. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're skilled. If I could paint my nails and sit at a desk at in front of the president's office, and I can file my nails and say, can I help you? I can't type or anything, but I look good,
like and I
should get a lot of money for it, right? See, that's where we're fucked up. That's why we have so many problems, is because you have 25 people to carry a pencil around and put something in a file cabinet, and one person telling them all which file cabinet to put it in. See, that it's messed up. Until we clean house and sweep all that out and stop letting a state changing things, lowering the standards to put whoever in because they're able to suck dick, then we're gonna get worse off. And it won't be long until nobody can do anything, and there's only one person in charge, and nothing happens. No food's gonna be grown, no one's gonna work, everybody's gonna be sitting on their ass, and we're gonna collapse, and someone else is gonna come in and take everything. some other
have you
country.
seen Idiocracy yet?
No,
Okay,
I haven't seen it. Is it a movie or a
it's a
TV
movie.
series?
It's a funny documentary. It shows everything that's going on right now, predicted back in 2005.
Yeah, I could see a lot of this shit a long time ago that was, coming. That's why I like this movie. I still like it. They wouldn't make this movie the way it was in 1997 today. This movie would be so different, 100% different, and it would be
You'd have
leaning
people
where.
like Tony, I eat corn cobs a long way, Gonzalez in the
Mhm.
special forces, because he's
Yeah,
even a fatter fuck than I am, and I am not a small chicken anymore. I saw
but
myself in the side
honestly, think
profile
about
yesterday.
it.
I'm ugly.
What happens when our special forces are run by that guy? Okay,
Yeah.
and how many wars are we going to win? How many people are we going to rescue?
You're talking about
How many-
winning. What?
That's what
What
I'm
are you
talking
doing?
about.
Stop that.
We'll never win. That's what I'm saying. We're handing ourselves this administration we have right now, from what I can see. That's one reason why I wanted to do this movie, is because I wanted this topic to come up about lowering the standards, because that's what this whole movie is about, period. I don't care. It's got a good script or a bad script, or if you don't like the ending, it's fine. I like the whole concept of it because it opens people's eyes that watch it, saying that's where we've messed up. Because when you lower the standards for any job, I don't care if it's in a restaurant or anything, you get low quality shit. That's all you get.
Well, I mean,
Period. That's what
this
you get. Nothing. Crap.
this movie to me felt like fucking propaganda, just like the movie before it that Ridley Scott did was propaganda. It was Thelma and Louise, and I felt like it was a sequel of some sort, or some spiritual sequel where
See, I didn't
like
get that at all either. I saw it totally.
I did, because like she was a strong, capable woman, and she was good at what she did, which is nice. And Demi Moore physically did some work to actually get in shape. She took off the time, didn't do no fast food, did a healthy eating diet, got a high protein diet, and she started doing the things that she was supposed to. And she looked good for this movie. She looked like she was actually serious about her career in the military, not like most military members now that are fat fucking cows trying to sit there at a desk, do their fucking nails, do nothing
Yeah.
for a living. But if you offend them, like, they're going to put you on report. You got to go see the captain of the fucking command. You got to go on 60 days restriction, 60 days half your pay, and you get your fucking gold stripes turned to red stripes because you're a shitbird. And how dare you fucking challenge the old man and make him look bad because somebody fucking yelled at his leg, said, "There's a guy being a sexist under your command. Fix him." And that's what fucking happened back in the 90s. And now we have this shit that's miserable. Okay. The military we have today is not the military I got out of. And my generation before me were ashamed of the fuckers coming in with me. Yeah. I shamed some people coming in because I couldn't do 50 push-ups. And, you know, the guys back in the 60s, before Vietnam was an official bullshit that we were going to go do, they were much better conditioned for misery than what we were. The 90s kids, man, us latchkey kids, we were ready to fucking just sit down, drink our Jolt Cola, and watch like fucking DuckTales all day. That was it.
But the thing is, you made it through boot camp and you didn't even know how to do push-ups?
I knew how to do push-ups. I couldn't do 50 at a time though. After boot camp, I could rep out 70 without a fucking sweat. I was great.
Everything that you did in boot camp, okay, were there women in there when you were taking boot camp too?
Not at Great Mistakes on the Lake. That an integrated camp was Orlando.
Okay.
Shortly after.
What I'm trying to say is, if you go to boot camp and there's men and women, okay, and you're side by side running the 5 miles or carrying rucksacks or whatever the jobs are that you're having to do.
The women won't have to run as far as the men because that's
why. That's what I was trying to say. That is wrong. Because how can you put that woman next to a man in a platoon that's going to go somewhere, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Hamas fighting or whatever? I don't know. I'm not a military person. But what I'm saying is, how do you expect that soldier to look at the woman soldier and respect her and know that she's going to protect him because she can't use a weapon, she can't run, she can't carry anything, she's weak. Why is she there? See, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I liked about this movie, is because it pushed the fact that you shouldn't be in it if you're not going to do the same job. If you have to cater to somebody to give them a position, why are they in it? They shouldn't even have that position. They shouldn't even be have a chance to have that position if they can't do the job. That's what I'm trying to say about this movie.
I don't disagree.
That's why I liked it.
That's
why I liked it, because that's what it pushed.
Though, because to me, this movie is a pure work of fiction, and in reality,
it's not reality.
This movie is a fan fiction, if nothing else, of science fiction. And this movie is very much like David Twohy masturbating on a word processor back in the early 90s. And he's having fun. He knows what he's doing. He's writing a script, and it's going to sell. But he knows that this is so far from reality, because he's not from Realville, but he understands the military, because there's military advisors that help him with his movies. And he understands that whenever there's a woman around, like, the work goes to shit. Women have nowhere near the restraint that men do. They have nowhere near the requirements or responsibility that the men do. And
but if you'd went to boot camp, or you were serving in the military alongside women that had to do the same job as you, okay?
That never happened.
Okay, but you're not listening to me.
Same jobs as
You're not listening. What I'm trying to say is, if Bruce was next to a woman on a ship, okay, you're on your ship and there's a woman on the ship and she has the same job as you, and she's doing the exact same job you're doing, sweeping, mopping, whatever it is, whatever the job is, but she's doing the same amount of hours and the same job, wouldn't you have more respect for her?
It'd be great, but it never happened.
That's why I like this movie, even though it's not reality. It's the story that this movie was trying to tell you, is that if a woman's going to join the military to be in an elite service, that she should be able to do the same thing next to the guy. That's what I said about this movie, and why I wanted to watch it is because it promotes something that we don't have, but we should. If you're going to be a woman in the military and be able to put that rifle together, just like the guy next to you, load it and shoot it with accuracy because you took the same training as him, then you have the right to stand next to him and fight side by side with him, because he knows, do you know what the fuck you're doing? That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I like this movie, because it shows that that's what you should have, side by side, kicking ass, because you can both do it. If you can't do it, then get the fuck out. That's what I liked about this movie.
And this movie is literally if you're looking for this for just content to talk about, this movie will qualify as that, because there's some things we do got to talk about. But O'Shea's Helicopter Tours hits something. When I was in the Army, women had to run the same distance as men, but the times were vastly different. They are huge different. I don't know about pull-ups. Back in the Navy, when I was in, we didn't have to do pull-ups. We had to do push-ups and sit-ups, and we had to do the run. That was our PRT. Now, I understand other infantry-based militaries might have had pull-ups, and I don't know if women actually had a number they had to do, or if they just had to hang from a bar instead for a set amount of seconds. But I know for a fact that there's very few women that can do fucking pull-ups, and there's very few guys now that we've got like plastic in our food that they can't do pull-ups. They just get fatter. And,
I went one time. I got invited. It was about, I think, like 12 years ago. I got invited to a graduation, a boot camp graduation. I think it was Army, but I'm not 100%. It was two different branches of service, so I don't remember. But I know they had fatigues like this kind of on. Okay, and they were giving out awards. But guess what? I was surprised, because when some of them came out, some of them were really fat. They were really fat. And I was like, how did they make it through the courses and stuff. I was just, in my head, I wasn't asking people because I didn't want to embarrass anyone, but I didn't understand how somebody that big could run through the course, do the stuff that you see, like when we watched Major Payne. Remember all the stuff they had to do, crawling over the barbed wire and climbing those fences and all that stuff. I was like, how did they do that stuff? This is what I'm thinking in my head. And I didn't understand that. And that was just 12 years ago. So it's like, that's a huge drop from when I was a kid and watching my dad. But my dad was training people how to survive if they crashed in a plane or something like that, like how to survive in the jungle or the desert, depending on where you were crashed, right? So he would try to train people what to eat and all this different stuff. That's what he did. And he was training his young men how to do the extractions and stuff like that, but mostly for medical purposes, the stuff that I got to see. And none of those guys were fat. They were all, everyone was in really good shape. They looked like they could climb a whole tower or side of a mountain or whatever. So I was just really surprised because, when you're not around it all the time, you're like wondering, how did these people get so big? Just like when I see some of these videos now on YouTube and Rumble, and they show these really fat cops, that they can't even run after the bad guy because they're huge. I mean, don't they make you train year after year and like retrain or take a test or something?
After you're in. It's a union job, Janet. They're not going to fucking.
Well, that's not good. That's not good for us.
They're going to promote you.
How's that good for the neighborhoods and stuff, to control what's going on? I mean, I just don't understand how that's good for any city or any state to have a cop that can't even tie his own shoes, basically, and he's still on the beat. How is what's he capable of doing? I could see why you would put them behind a desk, because if that's all they can do, then that's where they should be. They shouldn't be out endangering the public because they can't stop crime. I don't know. I guess I just don't know enough about it. But to me, that's no common sense.
You promote them to a position to where they're completely unable to do the job, and then you can start processing them to do early retirement or some other dog and pony show that gets them out of the force into some more of a civil authority to where they're at a desk in an office with other government people that are for your civil municipality. That's what you do. But Pinochet is infantry, former infantry. He says, take two equally skilled snipers, one male and female. It comes to all stationary targets, all other variables being equal, women tend to be a better shot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is,
I took my test and I had to run and stop and do 3 shots, and then run, spin around, go to this other target and do 2 shots. I had to try to do it within a certain amount of minutes. Okay.
You did 3-gun or no? Did you do 3-gun? Did you do the 3-gun drills?
No, I just used my one weapon because I was being qualified to get my advanced concealed carry. But the thing is, I did pretty good compared to some of the guys on there. I did a little faster, and I'm not a professional. I don't know why I was a little faster than them. And they weren't, I didn't look like they were impaired or anything. But I can understand that maybe girls are better. I don't know. What I'm saying is, how can you judge someone if the same standard? You see what I mean? If the guy and the women are side by side having to shoot at the same thing, the same time limit and all that stuff, then you can say, oh, the women are better at this one thing, or the guys are way better at throwing knives than the women. You see what I mean? But you can't balance that out if the standards are different, because if their standards aren't the same, you can't compare it. There's no comparison then. That's what I'm trying to say, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
So, because I definitely believe in that, because to me, that's common sense. Oh. I mean, if I see sharks swimming around a bunch of chum that you just threw out, and I say, oh, I'm going to go for a swim, what do I think is going to happen to me if I jump in the water with the frenzy of sharks? I'm probably going to get bit, and probably bleed out before I get back in the boat. I mean, that's common sense. You don't jump in with a bunch of frenzied sharks. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just as simple as that concept. You know, how do you expect to get the best when you don't go for the best?
Of all things, I was talking about a little bit of healthiness and how I'm fat body. But in the chat, there's our friend Keto Simple. And for those of you that like to eat, that love to eat, most of us do, we can identify that food's great.
We love food.
I'm going to give you a link for Keto Simple's channel. He's a really good creator. He's a heck of a guy. He has an epic beard. Watch his beard tutorials. No, actually watch his food tutorials. And that's his boneless fried chicken thighs. And he has some other fried chicken tutorials as well. But you want to be able to make healthy food for your family, and it's delicious. Go to his channel, subscribe, take your friends there when they're talking about, oh, it's the start of the new year, I need to make some changes. Here, Keto Simple's channel. Go. Watch his chicken food. His fucking yard bird is amazing. Anyway, sorry about that. I always try to pimp out the people I know that have something relevant, and Keto is an amazing creator. He's got some good stuff, and anybody who's wanting to live healthier, go join his cadre. He does Sunday mornings with coffee. Him and his wife get together. They're a cute couple. They're great. Anyway.
Okay. Well, the first part of the movie was mostly seeing her show up after she's been picked by the I guess she was a senator, right? Amber Bancroft. Okay.
Senator
she picks her because she looks more like a woman, and she wanted to make sure that she wasn't a lesbian because she was worried that they would use her being a lesbian as butch. It would make it look bad that women can't be in the military unless they're lesbians or butch. You see what I mean? Manlier, whatever, that type of thing. So she used that emphasis on that. But then she gets in there and she's already physically fit, and she wanted to do this. She wanted to try and see if she could do it. She wanted to do the best she could. She's not a person that just does it half-ass like we see so much of, right? In the military and every other aspect of society, you see people just go, they just put in the tiniest amount they have to get by, squeak by. That's why you see so many restaurants and other businesses collapsing, because people don't want to put in the effort. But this girl wanted to win. She wanted to be able to say, I did this, So she was not, I don't think she was really prepared for how bad it was going to be. But once she started, every time she started to get weak, it seemed like she would get pissed off by something that someone did or said. And when she went in into the lunchroom, remember at the beginning, and they're all like being very picking on her, some of the guys being sexual and gross and stuff. She handled that like a champ. I mean, I've done that. I've gone in rooms where guys were all like, saying, bend over, I'll give you the best time of your life and shit like that. And it's no big deal, because that's what guys do. If you're going to hang with guys, you have to get used to what guys do and how they speak and not be offended. Oh my God, he said this about me. Then why in the fuck are you joining the military? See, that's what I'm trying to say. But I liked her for that. I thought she did really good. The way that she acted in there, she was very, to me, it was very realistic. The whole concept of that. Then the fact that she was upset when she realized that she wasn't going to be in the same, she wasn't able to do the same stuff with them because they were taking her chance of showing the guys that she could do the job, or at least giving her the option to do it. You see, by taking, lowering the standards, putting the footstool out there by the fence and all the different things. She didn't want that, because if she was going to make it, she wanted to make it on her own, not because someone gave her a lift. Okay, cheated for her or whatever. She didn't want to live with that. She wanted to do it herself, or see if she could do it herself, because she didn't know if she could make it. But she said she wasn't going to quit. She was going to do the best she could, and she wanted it to be an even thing. So, and I love the guy, the actor that played the commander or whatever, the one that was smoking the cigar, talking about it shaped like a phallic symbol and stuff like that. what was that actor? I loved him. I thought he was great. I thought he did an excellent job as playing that character, and the smirky smile he gave her when she replied to him. Okay, I loved all that. I thought it was very believable. It didn't seem stupid or fairy tale-ish. You know, it seemed like it could have really happened in somebody's office by the way that they spoke to each other, and I liked that. I thought it was great. So then after that, when she finally got to be treated fairly, and the is it Vitterigo? How do you say his first name? Morrison or whatever his name. Vigo. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I thought he was awesome. I thought he did an excellent job in the movie.
The reason why I watched the movie to its end.
Okay, and I've loved every movie I've
I
seen
will
him
say
in.
the final act I just completely disregarded.
Well, yeah, but you know why now? But it's not because the movie wasn't made that way, because that isn't the original ending of the movie. It has nothing to do with Ridley Scott or the actors. They did their job they were hired to do. And that's what you have to remember. They did the job. Now, if we could see the alternate ending, I guarantee you'd probably like it a lot more.
More than
We
likely,
can't
I would have very much enjoyed it because it seems
Because
like
the
it would have been
audience,
more
it
real.
says right here on this paperwork, the audience preferred that ending. Okay, but Disney said, "Fuck them, we're not doing it. We don't care if the audience likes it. We're doing what we want to do." So I guess Disney's been doing this shit since the '90s. So you know, that was their own demise. They've been doing it for too long. They've gotten used to it. They like saying, "Well, the producer says this, so we're going to fuck the audience. We're going to just do what we want." So they're going to lose money, and that's, you know, until they lose enough money and the little light goes off in their head, they're just going to keep doing dumb shit like that and making bad decisions. But I thought the acting was phenomenal. I thought the scenery was great. I thought they did a really good job at making me believe, as a person who's never been to boot camp or any other elite camp in the military, it seemed very realistic to me. The helicopters, the one that was real skinny, and then having the bigger one to be able to transport and pick people up. I thought that was real cool, showing how they were picking people up, getting people in there, and the other one was protecting them so they could get them in. I just thought that was awesome. It was very believable to me as just a person that's not in the military, you know, just like you said. I hate the way they shoot the guns. I hate the way they did this because it was so stupid. It wasn't real. Because you do that stuff. I've used a weapon and I know how to shoot a few guns. I'm not a grenade person. I don't wire, you know, claymore and all that shit. So if they did it to me, like in some of the John Wick movies, it seemed very realistic to me.
I would love it. I would absolutely love to see a range day with Janet where she gets to use a bloop gun. Janet just hanging around.
That gun that what's his name was using in his video, the guy that was running for office. I would love to shoot that gun.
He has an AK-50 that he made.
Your whole body would be going ding, you know, when you shoot. It was awesome.
You'd be watching your boobs. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna be watching
slow motion. I know. Yeah, and they're jiggly. They do jiggle. So I can help that. That's nature.
Says Ridley, as he ages more, he gets less agreeable over time. He should take a cue from John Carpenter. John Carpenter is doing the director thing very rarely now. He's finally doing his love, which is he plays music. And so if you go see a John Carpenter show, you'll see this old man behind the keyboard. He's looked the same age since 1981.
I haven't seen that movie.
What?
Someone's asking me if I've seen History of Violence, and I haven't seen that.
It's a good movie. It's probably Viggo's best role. As much as I like Aragorn, 3 films of Aragorn we had, History of Violence is just fucking brutal shit. It's great.
No, I haven't seen it. But yeah, I'd like to see it. I think he's a good actor. I really enjoy his movies.
I've never seen a bad movie with him in it. Now, there's some scenes where they have the exterior shots of the submarines in this film, and those, I believe, were outtakes of Crimson Tide, which is another film by Tony Scott, Ridley's brother, that had Gene Hackman and Denzel.
Oh, I think I've seen that one. I love Gene Hackman. He's one of my favorite.
Yeah, and a lot of the exterior shots of the submarine are from Crimson Tide's production. This movie has a lot of really interesting bits to it. Act 2, where she's in the training, I don't exactly think that she would have been able
the heavier training where they were shooting at them and all that stuff.
Not even that. just the part where they're trying to push up a fucking boat bumper up a hill, up a fucking sand
Oh
berm.
yeah.
Uh,
That's when
if
they get
you've
run
ever-
over.
Anybody that's ever ran on sand dunes before, and that was something that they did with us in Corpus Christi because we had a XO that was a fucking just a piece of shit. We your feet just sink. Your feet go down to their ankles or deeper, and your PRT turns into like this endurance test where you're really pushed, and then you're pushing up this fucking boat bumper up the side of a fucking sand dune. And I don't really see Demi Moore like being the last one to get trampled by it. I see her collapsing first. She's not a tall girl. She's really not, maybe 5'9", but
Yeah.
that boat bumper's well over the weight limit for what her frame should be able to handle, even with those other dudes
Well, it
there.
wasn't just one
And,
person. I saw like
they
10
had like 5 or 6 people
people.
on it.
Yeah, pushing
And
them all up.
and those things aren't easy. I've never fucked with one of those. There's a reason why. I'm smart. I already had a hernia. I'm good. And I'm
But
I'm
I
not
thought all that was freaking cool because they made them stand there holding up rubber boats, but they were filled with water. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were making them do that and holding your hands above your arms above your head for a long period of time. Remember, okay, the only thing I could compare it to is the TV show Survivor. Remember, they did that kind of stuff a lot where they were making them having to stand there for long periods of time and do certain things like that with their arms up. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how they're doing it. Because that takes a lot of upper body strength. And I think that's one reason why Ridley Scott wanted to keep showing her doing, on her own time, when she wasn't in the, out on the field, doing sit-ups and push-ups and leg lifts and pull, all the other stuff that she was doing. They wanted you to see her physical strength, that she's really trying to be able to achieve the goal of making it through this thing. And I thought that was really good. To me, that was showing that she wasn't being pampered, that they weren't just handing it to her, because she was really physically strong enough to do it. I guarantee that in real life that she was at least stronger than a lot of the guys, actors that they had playing, doing the same stuff. But just because they were guys, they didn't have to be near as in shape because they're just physically stronger anyways, because their muscle mass and everything is different. But that's what I was trying to, that's what I think he was trying to show us, the audience, that she's going above and beyond what another person might do because she wanted to make it through. She was trying to show her determination and stuff, that she was really wanting to be successful in this endeavor in her life, to prove to herself that she could do it. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's how I took it. You were already long gone before that. You weren't even involved watching the second part, but that's what I got from the scenes. And the fact that she was put in a position because of a dare, basically, of a politician, okay, that she didn't even know about yet. Okay. And if it hadn't been for somebody that was involved, like her boyfriend, I don't remember what they said his rank was. I'm sorry. Seeing the fax lines, realizing it was the woman that put her in there in the first place that was leaking all this information to try to get her out and get her in trouble. See, to cause a stink so that they would want to make a deal with her to get those bases so they wouldn't close them. See what I mean? So she was underhandedly using her basically the whole time, even though she was in there getting her ass kicked and working her ass off because trying to prove to herself that she could do this. So she was getting fucked by the politician too. See, it wasn't just the government was getting, or the people in the military. She wasn't just screwing the military. She was screwing this one girl individually, not caring or giving a shit what she was going through, because she was using her as a pawn on her chessboard, basically. Mm-hmm. And I like that whole intrigue behind the scenes with her boyfriend, finding out these little tidbits simply because of what he was involved in, and he gave a shit about her.
Well, yeah, he loved her as much as they didn't really show their relationship. You can tell he gave a shit about her. He cared for her.
Well, in the bathtub scene, that was a really good scene. I thought it was very believable. I
Very
wish I
believable.
had a partner that would talk to me like that. When I ask questions and I'm looking you in the eye, I'm asking you a question because I want to know an answer. I'm not saying, oh, give me the nice answer. I'm asking you, the person I love, for the truth, and that's what I got from this relationship. It was very strong. They were both very high, in their intelligence levels. They looked at each other as equals, even though one was a man and one was a woman. They desired each other that way. They still respected each other's point of view. See, I love that whole thing. I thought that was very good, and it was very believable to me as a woman. So maybe it's because I'm a woman. I just can't help it. I'm a woman, and I was born that way, so I see things that way through a woman's eyes, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm giving you my perspective of what I've seen. But I'm not a feminist. I don't believe women are equal with men. And I definitely know men can never have babies. Okay. They're not meant to have babies. Women are made specifically to give birth and to carry on the human race, period. And we can't do that without men. And a woman, when she's out, she's looking and she's got that urge to want to procreate. She's wanting someone that fulfills the need of giving me children, but someone who's going to be there for me and be my partner in the whole thing of giving birth. And to me, that's basically what I saw in their relationship. I saw two people that treated each other and talked to each other on an even level. He wasn't up here and she's down here. You know what I mean? They were partners, and I love that. I wish everyone could have that kind of a relationship in real life, as a husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. I think we'd have way better relationships and more people would stay together if you talk to each other and expect the truth from each other and treat each other with respect when you speak to each other. And even though they were digging at each other a little bit because he didn't like that she was wanting to really take this serious and try it out, he accepted that that's who she is, and he didn't just say, fuck you, I don't want to talk to you anymore. He still wanted a relationship with her because he accepted
it's already really hard. It's already really hard to have a military relationship or a military marriage or even just like coexisting with each other like what they were, because when you're with somebody that's active duty, I love you women, I really do, but when you get in the military, you go fucking apeshit crazy and you fuck everything with a dick. Like there wasn't a single woman
from
that
your
I had sex with.
experience, I can see that. I can understand that.
Every girl I was with in the Navy had me beat by triple digits. They couldn't believe they fucked so many dudes, but they fucked a lot of dudes. And that's kind of why whenever you have these situations where like this aircraft carrier gets back from a cruise and the girls get back in circulation in the local area, like the entire base gets herpes again. Like, what the fuck do you expect? And I know that sounds kind of sexist, but that's what happens. Most guys will keep a stable, and I know this sounds really terrible. I think maybe even women do this too, but I'm not equipped with a vagina. But most guys will have a stable of like 4 regulars. They'll kind of cycle through over the course of like a year and a half. And they'll go back and revisit things. And social media makes it hard now because like people do photographs and there's like, oh my God, he was with her again. Fuck, I'm never touching that dick again. And you have that shit go on. And you know, guys do the same thing where they're like, oh my God, Tanya's with Brad again. Fuck, she's never not going to have chlamydia. And so we didn't have that back in the day.
When I was in high school, I had a lot of guy friends. Okay. I was in agriculture. I took agriculture, it was agri, and I took shop because I wanted to learn how to take, lawnmowers apart and weed eaters to fix them myself. That was one of the things that I wanted to be able to do. And my dad was gone a lot, so he wasn't able to do it. And my mother didn't know shit about that kind of stuff. So that was something I wanted to learn. Well, I'm in there with all these guys and they're all talking about how they slept with this one girl 2 weeks ago, and they're trying to sleep with this other girl and this other girl and another girl. And I just asked them, I said, do you guys ever want to get married one day? And they said, yeah, of course. I want to have a family. And I said, well, who are you going to look for if you've already screwed everything around here? Do you want a girl that slept with 15 men? And they went, no, hell no. I don't want to tramp. And I was like, but you're making tramps every weekend. Doesn't that matter to you? You know, one day that's going to be your daughter that all the guys are going to want to make tramps out of. So you could tell I didn't date any of these guys. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to date any guys, because they're all scum. I mean,
that is a Tuesday in Diego Garcia. So say
how
it.
can a man want to sleep with everything, but when it's his turn to get married and say I do, he doesn't want to tramp? I mean, all you've done is make tramps your whole sexual activity life since puberty, and now you don't want to tramp. You want someone who hasn't slept with anyone. Well, you got to find someone that's in kindergarten and raise her.
You really don't know me that well, Janet.
No,
I
not you.
everything
I'm
about
talking
you.
about you.
But
I'm talking about the guys that I went to school with. This is one reason why I didn't date hardly at anyone.
I
Because they
didn't
were
want
all
like
like that.
I didn't want a rampant whore. I didn't want somebody that was like, you know, on Instagram for like the last 10 years and her fucking Facebook has like over 400 blocked accounts because she fucked all of them. And you know, I can't go to a fucking gas station without running into six guys who fucked you after day. I didn't want that, but I did want somebody that knew what a penis looked like. So I mean,
Well,
you know,
yeah, you didn't want a beginner, is what you're saying. You didn't want a virgin.
I'm trying to relieve myself of fucking stress. And the last thing I need to worry about is some kid, some woman who's got an 18-year-old mind thinking, oh my God, he thinks I'm fat. I think I'm fat. No, I'm trying to blow my nuts all over your insides. Hold on. Let me get my dick Kurt Cobain inside your vagina, and I'll be completely happy to discuss whatever inadequacies you have afterwards. But I really, you know, and that's the majority of guys.
See,
like
you didn't care though. You didn't see that. No, what I mean is that's one of the things about what I loved about this movie was the fact that they showed this
they had a good relationship.
They had this relationship she had before she went in. It was already a very good and strong relationship. And they didn't brag about it because they were in the military. There was something that people just talked about on the weekend. And oh yeah, she's got a tight vagina, whatever. You know, she takes it up the butt, or she gives a good head. That was not even anywhere in their relationship because they respected each other. When you respect the person that you're with, you don't talk about them behind their back. You don't tell your friends, oh, she wears a double D, blah, blah, blah. That's just some bimbo. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference. Okay. And all men, every man and woman that I know, that once they decide they want to have a relationship, they want a decent person. You know, they want somebody that's honest, that can keep a job, that's loving and affectionate, that laughs, that they have fun with. And they had that. At least it seemed like it from even just from that one scene in the bathtub, which is a very intimate, because they're feet to feet, they're looking each other in the face, and they're having a conversation which could be romantic. It could go one way or the other. You didn't know until he got up and walked out. Okay, you realize that, oh well, he wasn't happy, so he left. So she wasn't getting laid that night. But the thing is that he didn't just pack his shit and leave her, because he did care about her. He did respect her. And then once she was gone, okay, and he was hearing little bits here and little bits there, he was still intrigued and trying to get as much information about it as what was going on as he could. And they were talking on the phone.
Because that's his gymnasium. That's where he sends his kids off to play.
Well, the thing is that he cared about her. It was more than just sex. They were on a higher level than that. They had a real relationship, and they both seemed that they wanted it to go as far as they could get it to go. So I like that whole aspect of the whole thing, and the fact that she had a relationship and was starting to get the relationship with the men, you know, on her team, right? But not in that level. She was like me and you, okay, with the guys. She could cut up with them. She could just be herself around them, and she knew that they were there for her. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I saw the relationships building with them as they were going through the training together. Like, she'd stop and she'd try to help one of the guys, or one of the guys would try to help her. Are you all right? And they're checking on each other. That's what teammates do, right? And that's what they need. They need to become a team. Where they know each other has each other's back, and that's the only way you can be successful. And when you go out, like I was saying, when you're sent out and it's just you and your 5 people or your 8 or whoever many's on your team, you're there for each other, and you got to count on each other. Each of them one has this job, one has that one. They all do different things, but they have to know that the other one's there, going to be there when you call them. They're gonna do what you tell them to right away, and not go, what's going on? Why are you doing this? None of that shit. Because when you need seconds, you need to depend on them to do their job, and you could see that building up throughout the second part of the movie, because you could just tell by the way they were acting. So when at the end part, when she's been the one put in charge and she's trying to get them there, and they're all thinking, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. Okay, she's going to get them lost. And then the fog starts to clear and you see that they're right where they're supposed to be. She is doing the job. But that one guy, he's a hothead, him and the other dorky guy that does everything he tells him to do. Because, you always have that one guy that does whatever the jock says, even though he shouldn't. They go out there and then they end up getting them all caught. So they even though it wasn't her fault, it was her squad, and they all got punished for it. They all got captured. So when she gets beat up at the end in that fight, because he's trying to show the guys, that's why he kicked her outside. He wanted to humiliate her and stuff in front of the men, to prove a point to the men that this is why women shouldn't be in this, because you're gonna give up the info, or you're gonna die because you're trying to protect her instead of protecting yourself. That's what he was trying to show them. So I understood what he was doing, but it didn't mean I wanted her to get hurt either. You see what I mean? I wanted to defend her, but I understood what he was coming from. So I didn't hate him. I never hated him, because everything he did, I thought he was doing to make them a team, to make them better fighters. Yeah, they had to be able to do their job, what they're out there to do, and they each had to be able to do the job that they were given when they needed it, period, no matter what else was going on. So when she told him, when they were down in the hole, and I almost started crying again years later, when she said, don't give up anything for me, when she was trying to make sure and grind that into him, don't do it because of me. You stay strong and do what you would normally do. Just because I'm a woman, I don't want you to fail because of me. Because then she has to look back.
She's already showed that she gets upset when she's given preferential treatment for being a woman. She didn't want that. The Air Force, she got given a 30-second forgiveness because she was able to pass, and somebody else who,
and it pissed her off.
At the same time, it angered her. And I mean, that's again science fiction, because most women, when they're in the military and they got to do a PRT, like, oh, I only have to do 22 push-ups, yay! And some guys,
it shouldn't be that way.
So
that's what my dad. I told everybody online on one of our shows too that my dad said, "Oh, military is no place for a woman," and he had 5 daughters. But the job that he did, he said, "I don't want my daughters to join the military," and we didn't, because we respected our father. We did what he said, even though I tended to say, maybe I want to, but he said, no, I really don't want to. It's not a place for a woman.
And your dad was right. Your dad was very smart.
Maybe that's why I think some of the things that I do. And I really do believe that your family does influence you when you're growing up, especially if you're close and you guys do a lot of things together. You are going to learn. That's why good parents that have hands-on, you help them with your math and you teach them right from wrong. You make them do chores. All those things will make your children a better person when they grow up. But the thing is, we can't just say, oh, well, not my problem. I'm going to send them to school and let the teacher take care of it. And we have a lot of parents that do that today too. But that's what I liked about this movie. The agenda was they shouldn't lower the standards for a woman to join the military. Basically, that's what it was. And I liked it. I thought it was a really good, because they shouldn't. Well, I don't think they should lower it for anything. And I love that whole thing.
Feel like it was that to you, but for me, it felt like it was a companion piece to
the ending for Thelma and Louise. I know you said that.
If you didn't like Thelma and Louise's unhappy ending, then we have a happy ending for you. We're gonna give you a movie with Demi Moore. She's young and pretty, and we're gonna have her as a she's a badass boss babe.
Even though she shaved her head.
She shaved her head. She completely did the boss babe Ellen Ripley shit without becoming some modern harpy today. That's the only part about this movie that I like.
Yeah, there
As
was
far
a
as her
part, I'm
character is
trying to find
concerned,
it real quick,
she
about her
never
shaving her head.
she never actually was, her character did not appreciate the standards being lowered for her, and she wanted to be tested as hard as a man, which is good because when you go overseas with a gun in hand and a uniform on, the enemy doesn't give a shit if you got tits or vagina until after they're able to scrape you off the fucking dirt and take you back. Is it still alive? Well, even if it's not, is it still warm? And that's what's going to happen.
But the part where they're eating out of the garbage cans, I thought that was freaking awesome. Because I have heard stories from some young men. Like I remember one story I heard, because I was asking him about it, what it was like, and it wasn't boot camp. It was a Navy guy, but a submariner guy that went through boot camp.
The film
and he said he was told he had to clean the toilets with a toothbrush because he got in trouble for something, and I was like, that's horrible.
Janet, what movie did it better? This movie or Private Benjamin?
For me personally, I like this one better than Private Benjamin.
Okay, that's what I need to know, because Private Benjamin's a 4-star movie. That's easily an 80% out of 100, maybe even higher, because one, it's Goldie Hawn in one of her best, most cutest roles that she ever did.
I thought she was adorable when she got shot in the butt and all that stuff.
Yeah. And
the whole thing, though, the one thing I didn't like, isn't that the one where the sheik guy was liking her?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
See, I already knew a lot about the way Muslims treat women, and that turned me off the whole thing. That just, my dad had already read a lot of things about a bunch of other different religions and stuff, because he had 5 daughters, and we moved around a lot, and he wanted us to know about it, and I was like, that turned me off. That whole projection that they pushed with her on that is like, yeah, babe, as soon as he gets that ring on your finger, you're a piece of shit.
Hi, Summer. I love you, Summer. You hate pedos, and yes, I'm painting this live.
Yeah, that's what he does. He paints his little figurines. But the thing is, I just love the whole agenda of this movie. And the fact that this is one of the things I looked up, and it said that a lot of women wanted to join the military after they saw this movie. The thing that I would ask is if these women join the military and ask to be treated the same way as the men. That's what I would like to find out, because it doesn't seem like it from what you were telling me. Some of the things they do, they keep it even, but most of the time that they say, we'll lower the standards for the women, but we're not for the guys. It's bullshit. How can you expect a woman to fight side by side with a man when she wasn't going through the same training?
If it makes you feel better, they lower standards for older men too.
I just think it's bullshit.
I got really irritated.
How can you have someone next to you that you know is going to whip that weapon out or have your back when you're surrounded, when you know that person didn't even get half the training you had? It's just, I think it's ridiculous. I would never put a person in that position if I was
this is why any man will be more than happy to train his daughter how to hunt, how to fish, how to do stuff.
I did all that stuff.
And he'll be more than happy to tell his daughter how to clean rifles, but he's not going to let her go off to the military. There's so many men out there that they know what happens in the military because they were there. They fucked all the barracks bunnies. They don't want their daughter to become a barracks bunny.
I mean, I don't want to know about that stuff if my dad did that, but
well, your dad was on a submarine. There was no women on.
No, he wasn't. He was Air Force. My dad was Air Force. He was jungle survival. He's the one that taught the pilots how to survive if they crashed in the jungle or in the desert.
Mage's Musings, 65% was the reported rate in the late 90s for U.S. Navy. I kept tabs on that for a while. 65% of all enlistees did not complete their first term. And that could be 2 years, like what I was originally as a 2-year active duty, or 4 years. That was standard back in the early 90s, or 6 years for active duty. But a lot of people never made it to their end of their 8-year contract. And I actually did. I was really proud of myself because I'm stubborn.
Well, the fact that I saw those chubby people, like I said, after 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever, I don't know how long boot camp is,
8
and
weeks
that
for maybe.
passed, okay, whatever it was in the Army and another branch. I don't remember what the other one was. But the thing is, they had to have lowered the standards to get some of those people to go through, because I'm telling you, the way they looked, I don't know how they made it through, crawling on the ground under the wire and stuff. I don't know. I was just going, how did these people pass? I was just thinking that to myself. So I was like, oh, but I didn't think about them lowering the standards, I just didn't, I don't know. I just don't understand how that makes a successful military in any branch. When you lower the standards for some and not others, and then you put them side by side and they're supposed to work together, knowing that other person didn't do half the training. I don't want that person on my team. You know what I mean?
Here's a fun homework assignment for you, Janet, and I know you won't do it, but go look up heavy truck crashes. Look up the difference.
Like some of the ones you showed me.
Between the difference between caliber of drivers from 1980 to 1990 versus the caliber of drivers from 2010 to 2020.
What kind of trucks is this?
Heavy trucks that are mostly they phased out the standard transmission. They're almost all automatics now. And I want you to look at the fucking crash statistics. They are so fucking terrible because we have these untested steering wheel holders that are trying to move these automatic trucks up and down the highways.
Yeah, I want to look at how many people have died because of it. That's what that's what I was saying. When you lower the standards, it hurts people in everything. I mean, you got to be a doctor. You have to, if you lower the standards to be this certain kind of doctor, if you went in and you went to get plastic surgery and for your lips or your nose or your eyes or your boobs or whatever, and you found out after you had the surgery, okay, before you're healed up and you've taken the stuff off, you don't even know what it looks like, right? But then you heard from someone else that the guy never passed his test, that because he couldn't pass, he tried to take it 4 times or whatever. So he paid someone to make sure he passed the next time. So the guy really doesn't even know what the fuck he's doing, but he just did surgery on you. See, that's bullshit. That should be illegal. People shouldn't be able to do that shit, but it happens. And that's wrong.
I agree.
Period. In anything. I mean, I don't see how lowering the standards for anything helps anyone besides the guy that got the job. Now he's going to make money and he's going to hurt people, or the woman.
Obviously, you've never worked in insurance, because the insurance is the one really raping in the money. They're the ones that are casting a wide net, and they just rub their hands together when you get a bunch of guys coming over the border and they hightail it to Springfield, Missouri to go get trained as a heavy truck driver. Can't speak English worth a shit, but because of diversity and inclusion, we're gonna fucking get him a CDL license anyway. We're gonna give him a CDL no matter what. And
it doesn't matter how many people they run over in the street or crash into.
This right here, Ice Road Truckers. There's
I've seen that show.
And she was okay in the cab. She was okay. But if there was anything to do outside the cab, anything heavy, no, get somebody to help her with that, because she's not got enough beef on her legs to fucking lift shit, and she needs that. And that's the thing. The second act of this movie really disappointed me because they tried showing me that Demi Moore could do it. And while I appreciate her trying to be Ripley from fucking Aliens franchise, and I love Sigourney Weaver's character,
she was built way better than Sigourney Weaver with muscle wise. But her legs, her arms, everything. She was in way better shape.
There's a reason why Demi Moore is in the top 100 celebrities that men fap to, but there's reasons for that. This movie's one of them. This movie and Striptease being the two chief proponents of that. But I want to say that there's no way in hell she would have gotten through Buds. And Buds, the development cycle for you going in to learn how to be a SEAL is 2 fucking years. And this movie makes it seem like it's just 8 weeks because of the specialized fictional bullshit company. And they're like, no, this movie should have been a series. And I know back in '97 that would have never happened. HBO wouldn't have touched it with a 10-foot pole, even with Ridley Scott directing and Gloria Allred providing interference out of Washington. They wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have. They would like to. They wouldn't have done it because this movie would have gone too far into the realm of sci-fi. And then the third act happens, and the third act is where I completely just said, "Fuck you, movie." Like this, all the things she's doing out in the field, that's great and wonderful. It looks good. And maybe it's happened in real life. I doubt it. I know we've got some combat scouts that are female. There was a cheerleader that was a female, and she was hiking around Afghanistan about 2 years ago while we still had a vested interest there, or 3 years ago. And then, like, after everything pulled out, she pulled out and not heard from it since. If we had a pretty blonde girl that was taken overseas as a fucking capture, we would have never seen the end of the fucking advertising, never heard the end of the parents screeching about it, and she would have been rescued.
We did with Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner was a prisoner that we traded for, didn't we? In Russia?
She was a basketball person that took fucking drugs over to goddamn Russia.
Yeah, but she was on the news every day, and everybody was crying for her and stuff, so we had to get her back.
There's a black female. You got to yell twice as loud for her. You know, got to have Jasmine Crockett fucking screaming, you know, at 90 decibels. Some of you don't know who Jasmine Crockett is. Let me see what I can do here. This movie, the third act, they have to go get some nuclear materials that are in the hands of some insurgents, which may or may not have happened.
They were trying to pull the team out. The team was trapped. The team couldn't get to where their extraction point was.
You can go ahead and talk about it, because the third act, I fucking zoned out.
Well, they were supposed to go get these people that were trapped, and they couldn't get to the place where the original extraction people were going to pull them out. So they used this team as an emergency to see if they could get to them before the other people found out and killed them all or whatever. So they were supposed to do that. But the thing is, when they got there, there was unexpected trucks with soldier type men. You couldn't really tell because they were far away. And then they stopped because Demi Moore's character and her what do you call him? Darn it. The guy that was training them, the Master Chief, and then one other guy went out to go and see what was going on, to see, you know, if they could find another way to get to these people that they needed to pull out in the boats and stuff, and then call in the helicopter where to pick them up. And once they did that, they saw these other people, so they knew that they wouldn't be able to use that spot as an extraction point. So when that happened, Demi was in this one little thing of rundown shack, using her special things, using her throat deal to talk to the other people that were at the original place where they got off the beach at. And her Master Chief was up on the hill with a sniper rifle and he's the one that saw the other people coming. So he's telling her, don't move, because she was trying to get ready to leave to go back and join him and then go back to the other group where they were, saying that they didn't see the people that they're looking for, the people they're supposed to be pulling out. So when she started to leave, he tells her Master Chief says, no, don't leave. There's people coming and they're driving right towards you. So just sit tight. Don't do anything. So the whole thing through the movie, he's talking about how women make men feel like they have to protect them. And that's what puts the men in danger, because the men don't think things through because they're too worried about protecting the women. Basically. So basically what happens is he thinks that she's going to get killed. She's got her knife pulled out, ready to do a silent kill to fight this guy and kill him if she has to, because he doesn't even know that she's there yet. Okay. And so he's watching through the sniper rifle, through the scope, to see what's going on. And he's saying he's coming closer. He's coming closer. And he's getting more paranoid, because he thinks that this soldier or whatever is going to find her, and he doesn't see her, but so he shoots him anyways. He shoots him in the head. So that means now all the people that were down the road in the trucks heard the rifle fire. So they're going to start going toward her too. So she gets on her stuff and starts running back, trying to get back to where he was at. And he's shooting at all these people with the one single rifle, right? So he ends up having to try to run away from them. She's already been able to get back, almost back to where she needs to be. And now they need to get him out. So it's just a big mess. But because he didn't take his own advice and just try to let her do what she should do, and she's been trained for, supposedly, because he told his uppers when they were on the submarine that his team could do this job. So basically he had faith in them, but he didn't have enough faith in her to not shoot his weapons. So basically he put them all in danger, or her and him in danger. So that's what the thing is that Bruce didn't like. But the thing is, you have to realize too, is that the ending was changed due to Disney not liking the ending, the original ending that Ridley Scott did film, which was her trying to save her Master Chief and dying. So she died. Okay. Well, the thing is, that's not Ridley Scott's fault. It's not Demi Moore's fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's Disney's fault.
I'm not blaming them for that.
I know, but what I'm saying is I thought the ending was fine. I mean, it was pretty good, considering that they got everyone out. They were able to extract all the people that they went there in the first place because they got the helicopter. They called the helicopter fire in and the extraction helicopter. So you had the big fat helicopter. I don't know the difference between them. I'm sorry, I'm not military. And then there was a really cool skinny one. They had giant weapon things on the side, and it was basically putting down suppressing fire and stuff so they could load everybody into the big fat helicopter, and then they left. So everybody got away, and then it shows at the end Demi going into her locker after they just got their little wings or whatever, the Navy SEAL emblem that you put on your uniform. He had just given that to her, and when she went back to her rack to get in her locker, she sees the Master Chief going out, leaving with his cane because he's had an injured leg. And when she opened her locker, she found the book that he would read from, the little tiny short little parts of sentences from poems and stuff is what he would read when he was doing his training. And he had it one part circled for her. And then he had his it was his cross, right? Silver cross.
Yep.
Is that what the medal was in there? And he was giving it to her because she saved his life, basically. I thought that was great. So to me, even though I didn't get to see the original ending, I thought the ending that they used was good because I didn't know there was another one until today when I was reading this stuff to try to find out different things that that they changed or whatever. So I enjoyed the movie way back when I watched it, because to me, it showed that we shouldn't lower standards, and that a woman couldn't if a woman can do the job and she can be successful, then she has the right to be in there with them because she's a team member now. If she can fight alongside them, but if she can't, just like any of the other guys that had to quit because they couldn't make it through the training, they shouldn't they shouldn't be on the team. If you can't do the job, you shouldn't get it. That's how I look at it. And that's how I remembered the movie. And when I watched it today, that's exactly how I felt watching it. And the great experience that she got to have when she confronted the politician, when she found out that she was used, and that basically all the hard work, because she's covered with bruises and she got the shit beat out of her. And that's when she said the famous line, "Suck my dick," to her Master Chief. And all of her teammates became her teammates at that moment because they decided that what she did and what he did was too far, that he went too far to try to prove a point to them, and made them a team. And that's what his job was. So basically, he pissed them all off, but he made a team out of them. And that was his job. And that's what he's meant to do, the Master Chief. So I thought it was great. I thought all their character arcs were meant.
I like Vigo. I like Anne Bancroft. I really thought that the cinematography by Hugh Johnson was good, but the story by Danielle Alexandra and David Twohy was absolute garbage. Like I don't.
You didn't like the script
at all. I fucking hated it, and I don't have anything nice to say about it. I'm good. I think that I think that her character, she portrayed her character as best as she could. She tried to Ripley it from Aliens as much as she could.
See, I didn't get Ripley from it at all, but
I
I can
did
understand why you
because
would.
it felt like Ridley Scott was going through the motions, and he forced her to watch Aliens before she fucking starts for this movie. He's like, I need you to have kind of like this attitude here, and he always does that. Ridley Scott does a really good job of making people like, here's some research material. And this used to be my character. James Cameron did a really good version of it with a sequel.
Mhm.
Watch her try to do this, and I think he really did a fantastic job with giving her direction. But the script was shit. The cinematography is good. The explosions were all right. Weapon hand placement, I didn't see a whole lot of problems. But I think that this movie has a lot of issues with it because it's at that point in time where the CIA is infiltrating Hollywood and they're perverting every script they can get a hold of. And you have this movie here, which is trying to show you a woman can do the same things as a man. They're not quite at the same stage where we're at now with feminism, where we're at fourth stage feminism, where women are saying, well, I can pull down a paycheck. I can be a plumber. I can be, and they're not doing this in real life, but they're saying this on TV. They're trying to show you that women can have every job a man can have, and there's no difference in output. Whereas everybody knows there would not be a woman plumber that could do the same output as a man. You can have my wife, who's a mechanic or a vehicle tech, and she has a hard time with truck tires. Other men her size do not, because men are geared to do physical jobs that are based around heavy equipment. We are great for that. Not that my wife is incapable of it. She can grab batteries, the big fucking car batteries, big fucking truck batteries. Yeah, she can get those. But ask her to fucking set up some R22 11.5s. Hold on, give her the right tools and she can do it. If not, she's gonna just look at you like, I'm needing help, and she's gonna do that. The gender roles in this movie are completely sci-fi written. It feels like it was a follow-up because there were enough people out there trying to make the fact that we had Thelma and Louise come out, and some odd reason the Harpy crowd got a hold of that and said this is a feminist movie, even though the real aspect of that movie is not about feminism, but it's just a series of bad decisions, and two men are in the movie trying to help the women fix things, and they never get a chance to. So, okay, fine, we'll do this, and we'll show men that women can be special forces. And G. Gordon Liddy had a fucking tear on AM radio for weeks. That was like the best time to listen to G. Gordon Liddy, because he was going on, oh, it is I, the G-Man, G. Gordon Liddy. And he would rip into this movie. I can't believe that this movie is doing as well as it is. Every critic that watched it, it's bombed. And it's just fucking great, because he's speaking from realism. I'm speaking from experience. This movie, it's written by David Twohy, God bless you, and Danielle Alexander. I don't know who the hell she is. She's got a credit on IMDb as a writer, but there's so much sci-fi in this film that I can't even take it as like, this is just a fun little movie. No, it's not. A fun little movie is In the Army Now with Pauly Shore. That movie is more entertaining and has a longer lasting happy impact on my fucking psyche than this movie ever will. This movie, for me,
this movie, I don't see how. I'm trying to connect it. I was listening to what you're saying. I'm trying to connect how the CIA would want you to know that that they lower the standards for women. You see what I mean? To me, this told me that when you join, every woman should want to be treated the same and equal as the men. That's what this portrayed to me. That's what I took away from it as a young woman watching it. Okay. So if I was to join the military, I'd go in thinking I was going to be treated the same way. And if I found out that they're giving me another hour to walk this trail or run the trail or whatever than the guys, I'd ask them why. Why do I get an hour longer than them? If we were out in the real world, and we were supposed to get somewhere within 3 hours and it was this many miles, how would they expect the women to be able to keep up with the guys if their training isn't the same? That's what I'm trying to say.
going
vote
to do that, and they're not
So
going
why
to.
would they put it in the movie if they're doing it because the CIA wants them to? Why would they want people to think that way? Like what I just thought when I watched it. See,
See,
it
the
didn't
reason why
make
they,
people
I think they did that is because it's one, sci-fi, and two, the reality is the moment a woman gets stuck hiking trails in a place like Afghanistan, there's a
Mhm.
very high chance she will not come back untainted. She will come back as a rape victim. She'll come
Mhm.
back as somebody who is unable to bear children, which is what a woman's job
Yeah, but
is.
the same thing happens to the men. The men get raped too because they rape goats. They rape anybody. They don't care because
They
to them you're not a Muslim, so you're just an infidel. They can do whatever they want to. It doesn't
Yes,
matter if
you're,
you're
you're
married.
a hole they can fuck. That's what
That's right.
exactly what it
And
is.
so it happens to men. So just like what Demi Moore said in the movie, why do you politicians think that a woman being saved from dying is more important than a man's life? Because it shouldn't be. You shouldn't look at it. And if that woman can go in there and fight right alongside the guy because she was trained exactly the same way, then she should be able to fight next to those men. She might be as good as them. If she could do the same job, give her
Set
the
up a
opportunity to
tripod,
do
she'll
it.
probably outshoot him whenever it comes time to have a problem.
But
But
what I mean
there
is
they get
the
you.
same training will find out whether or not they can do the job. But if you lower the standards and you take them all and you put them somewhere to fight, you don't know what you're going to get. I can tell you right now, it's not equality because those women are all going to die because they can't do the job that they're putting them in there to do because they're not training them the same way as they're training the guys. To
Our
me, that
military,
all of us should be pissed about that because
our
we're sending
military doesn't
people to
want
die.
bags to come over from
That's it.
theaters of
That's
operations.
wrong.
Our politicians are different. They love the idea of a bunch of daughters getting brought back in fucking bags because it means another fucking, hey, I can be a war hawk. I'll get elected again. This will be good for my fucking outcome. This will be
But see,
good for
that's
my
it.
fucking and
I
and
don't
that's
play golf. I'm just answering Papa Cotton. I've never played golf on a real golf course. I've only played mini golf, so I don't know anything about how far the tees are, any of that stuff. But can I ask you a question about golf real quick to Papa Cotton, since he seems to know? Do they have men and women competing against each other in a tournament? I mean, do they give like hundreds of thousands of dollars in a tournament where the men get to have to hit farther than the women and all that stuff? Or do they have it even if they do it?
I've never seen women and men compete in a tournament on TV.
See, they shouldn't. If they're going to have smaller distances and smaller areas to putt or whatever, then they shouldn't be able to compete together. That's why I don't believe that a man that has a penis should be able to be on a women's team just because he says, I feel like a woman. I want to be in the Olympics. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any more sense than that. All
In
that
the
is
military,
stupid.
Kenosha's helicopter tour says in the military, only physical tests had different metrics between men and women. And on contrary to popular beliefs, there's something known in Afghanistan as man boy love Thursdays. Yeah, the bocce boys, the little
I know my aunt
bocce
told
boys,
me
they
that men were raped
there's
all the time.
talk about it, they will
That's
fuck
not
that.
just women.
If they capture a boy or a man, they'll fuck that. If there's a weaker Muslim near another stronger Muslim, the weaker Muslim gets turned into the bitch. So I mean, that's just that culture. And
Yeah.
there's some. I'm not broad brushing all Muslims because not all of them are going to fuck other dudes. There are some Muslims out there that do believe that I like my penis in vaginas or a woman's asshole. That's what they think. That's a minority. Majority of Turkish sailors I met when we turned over the USS McCandless in May of '94 to the Turkish Navy, the majority of sailors we talked to and had conversations with, because not all of them spoke English, majority were like, we brought the boys over so we could fuck them. Women are for making babies.
Yeah.
They brought over young kids, like 15-year-old kids as sailors on the boat to get fucked. And then those guys would grow up, they'd rank up or level up, or they'd get out of the Navy or whatever. But if they stayed, they get to fuck the new boys. And that was just the cycle. Disgusting.
It is disgusting. It's perverted.
Explored quite well in this movie. The hero academia woman syndrome. Woman's being treated the same as a man is unfair because she's a woman, even though in truth that's bad.
Yeah, it is wrong. I don't believe it should be done that way. Either way. I mean, I don't know what job a woman can do that a man can't. I mean, besides give birth, you know. But most men I talked to, they said they'd rather not watch kids. You know, they'd rather go out and mow and work in the yard than having to stay in the house and let the wife be out in the yard. So, you know, a lot of men don't want to do certain things. I'm not saying they can't. They just don't want to do it. You know,
Ladies are supposed to greet the soldiers.
I would much rather be out in the yard working than have to take care of kids myself. I can tell you that.
Well, that's why you graduate and become a grandmother.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to earn. That's your reward for not killing your teenagers, your grandkids.
And don't let your teenager broom the fucking kids off on you, so you're a grandmother that's perpetually babysitting.
All the time. Or grandpa.
This is part of the movie that I just laughed at. I laughed at really hard, and I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But when they gave her a map and called her lieutenant, I thought they were all going to die. And I know that that's just that's a military.
Yeah, I know. And that's fine. I mean, I'm just saying, the thing is, I don't pick movies because I say, oh, I want Bruce to like all the movies I pick or anything like that. That isn't anything that we talked about. We're picking movies that we want to watch and that we want to talk about. And the reason I picked this one was I had picked it for the weekend that was going to be the Memorial Day Monday, right? That's what before stuff happened and I didn't get to watch it that week. But the reason I picked it is simply for this exact thing I'm talking about right now, was that they shouldn't lower the standards for women. I just don't.
The character was screaming that in the movie.
And that's what I saw from this movie.
The character was screaming that in the movie. The politicians and reality say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie's message was that a woman can do military infantry or military combat actions, and a woman can be trained to be special forces. And even though Demi Moore is out there screaming like, don't give me different standards, make me compete against the guy's standards, make me compete against the actual standards that you expect your typical soldiers to exceed with. And I like that, but that's completely blown by. They don't even acknowledge that. And it's really a sad thing, but that's how our society is. One, and two, they're just as an aside, you guys like the WNBA, right? You know, I like Caitlin Clark. I hope that she continues to exceed and excel all expectations. It's sad to see her getting mistreated in Chicago like she did, or Dallas, wherever the fuck she got mistreated. I saw her get elbowed to the ground, but I thought that I really think that if you take a group of 15-year-old boys on a pretty decent 2A high school team, you could take them against any women's National Basketball Association league team, and you could have the boys win, because the boys are just engineered for that sort of thing more, and women have to train harder to have the same metrics for things like basketball or football. And women will never get the same size as guys. They're not engineered to do that. So we have a little problem, and there are people out there screaming, you know, like, well, trans men can do it or trans women can do it. Well, those aren't really women. Those are guys that chop their dick off, like Leah Thomas, the fucking, what was he, 200 number ranked piece of shit swimmer that now he's the number one swimmer for women's college athletics.
Oh, God. And they still have a penis. So they're not even a woman. So even if
he's like that.
They'll never be a woman. Okay. They'll never be a woman. No different. Just like when we did Lady Ballers and I put the mascara all over my face and I said, this fake beard makes me as much of a man as a guy putting on some boobs. Okay. It doesn't make, I'm not a man. Okay. It doesn't matter what.
You don't ever need to dress up like a man again. Okay.
Well, I had fun. It was great.
Oh yeah. I had fun too. It was hard to fap to after.
Being honest,
I know, but the thing is that to me it's ridiculous. I just cannot believe. Sometimes I look around and I'm like, how in the hell did we get where we're at? It just doesn't. It's nuts. I mean, it really is crazy because it just doesn't make any sense. It's totally opposite of common sense. I mean, it doesn't help anything. I mean, if it helps something, I could understand why some people would choose it, but it doesn't help anything at all, not in one way.
Well,
it's just crazy.
I thought this movie had some great parts to it. But if you guys in the chat would do me a favor and list your scores, I'll have Janet read the scores off.
If you've seen it, but if you haven't seen it, don't worry about it.
Pinoche says, I got yelled at kind of by a female NCO, non-commissioned officer for you civvy types. She was qualifying and I was working the range guard. I tapped everybody on their backs and to clear them from the line. So you give him a little tap on the back, maybe the butt, he says, and clear them from the line. And when he taps her boot, she demands the same back pat that men got. And that kind of happens. Like some women do want the same treatment as men. They just treat me like a soldier, you know? And some women don't. Some women are like, no, you got to treat me special because I'm a fucking princess. My daddy told me so for years. That fucked my head up. And now I'm in the army.
I've met those people too. I've met both of them.
And Thomas and Sam, not Leah.
Scary. Oh, she's telling me I got to take the trash can out.
Okay.
But no, I'm not going to do it now, but I'll do it afterward.
Ever look like a man? Let's change the topic. Yes, this is Dinosaur Month. Welcome to day 2 of Dinosaur Month. She didn't really yell, but a small lesson for PFC from a female NCO to treat everybody the same because in uniform we're technically on the same side. I've only seen snippets of this one when I had it on TV in the background. I can't comment on it. Okay. Janet, I give this movie a 25% out of 100. And
I would give it 8, at least an 8.
Okay. The reason why I score this movie
I didn't see any of it the way you saw it. Maybe it was because I'm a woman when I saw it. Maybe it was because when my dad told me, you know, all of us girls that he didn't want to, because we'd bring home those little brochures, you know, from school, be in the army now, or you know, that stuff. And we would talk about it and about it being able to pay for us to go to college and things like that. And my dad was like, no, I don't want any of my girls to join the military. The military is not a place for a woman. And he was adamant about it. So we just said, okay. So we just stopped, you know, talking about it because he was just adamant that he did not want any of his daughters to be in the military. So we just didn't. But when I saw this movie, I honestly saw it exactly the way I was explaining it to you. To me, it wasn't propaganda. It wasn't a feminist movie because it was trying to tell people that if you can do the job, the same job as the guys, and do the same course, do the same training, then yes, a woman should be able to be in it. It didn't say that women did it, but if I'd known back then that they lowered the standards to put people into everything, all these jobs, like I said, about firemen, when I found out that I saw this one lady, like I told you, I think she was like 110 pounds, and she was a fireman. I was like, how in the hell are you a fireman? You know, you can't even carry the hose. And she goes, well, you know, I took the course. And I said, yeah, but you didn't take the same course that guy did. Because you could tell by looking at him, there's no way that she could do the job that he's doing. And if she came to my house and I had someone passed out upstairs that weighed 180 pounds and they're unconscious, that means dead weight from a fire and the smoke, there's no fucking way that she could go in there, even with a respirator and stuff on, and save that guy. That she couldn't do it. And why would anyone want her to be sent to their house to save their family when she can't do it? She shouldn't be a fireman.
There's a scene in the third act where she's on the radio and it sounds like she's hyperventilating. And I just that was where Bruce completely fucking checked out. Like, wait for the fucking post-credit scene.
I did have a problem with that, especially when the other person on the other side said, you need to check your breathing or something like that. And I thought, they wouldn't say shit like that to each other in that situation, would they? So I thought that was kind of
all depends. All depends. I'm not going to say yes or no on that, but I just, the part where she's hyperventilating on the radio, trying to scream for information and trying to convey what's going on site, I felt like that was a little bit too maybe Demi Moore wasn't in that great shape.
Right.
It completely rubbed me the wrong way. Like, oh, you're supposed to be a hardened operator. They called you an operator at the start of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
As an operator, you're not going to talk like
she
that.
Was
you're
supposed to be
talk concisely.
Yeah.
And that was part of the problem that I really fucking had with it. And I hate being a complete dick, but I'm very good at being
I mean,
no.
I had a problem with some of the things, the way that she talked over the radio, and the fact that she's the one that left. You see, that was the one thing that I had the most problem with that whole scene was she was in charge, right?
Yeah, that right
Once,
there. I mean, she was an
he
officer.
left, once the Master Chief left, she was in charge. So why would the second in command go after him? To me, that made no sense at all. It would have been one of the other guys they would have sent. See what I mean? So that I had a problem with. But then I'm thinking, oh, they did it because she's the girl and something bad's going to happen. And it did. And that's why he ended up doing the thing. But the ending was different. Remember, everything leading up to what we were watching was leading up to the other ending. See, we would have gotten closure if we'd gotten the ending that we were supposed to get, but they didn't change the script to fit it up to the ending of the new ending. See what I mean? They had it set up for a different ending. So the lead up to the ending would have been different if the script had been written for it to end the way it did. See what I mean? That's another thing about what I was saying about taking pieces out and editing, because you hurt the movie in the editing box, because what you're editing out might have a lot to do with the very end or a part right before the end. See, and they edited it out. Now you're going, what the hell's going on? You lose track because they edited out what you needed in there because it was too long or whatever it was, or it was bad editing. But see, we found out after we read it, or I did, because I just found out today, that this wasn't even the ending. This was a totally different ending they put in because Disney didn't like that the ending, because they wanted it happier. They wanted a happier ending. So leading up to what happened would have been different if they'd made it. The script was made for this ending. That's all I'm saying. So that's one reason why I had a hard time adjusting to that, because to me that didn't make any sense. Why they had to send her in? Well, they had to send her in because she was supposed to be the hero and save the day, instead of going there by chance to help one of the other guys because he went with them and wasn't supposed to, or something happened and he's needing help. So she had to go and try to fix it, and then she ends up dying. See, that's what was supposed to happen. I would love to see the other ending, you know what I mean? To get my hands on it so I can actually see how it was supposed to end along with it, and see whether I think the same thing leading up to that as I do right this minute about that
Crafty
part.
Gamer, thank you so much for
Oh,
recommending.
you got them in already?
Yep, they're already here.
Cool.
And they've got fat handles, so I don't have to worry about wrapping things in rubber bands. I am so far impressed with what I see here.
Mm-hmm.
You want to read some of these scores here, Janet? Let me pull some up.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let me go up a little bit.
I got it at the bottom there for you.
Because here it says grumpy old ninja. Oh, you're putting them up on the screen. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
6.5 for Jackie Blue. I think that's a pretty good for a girl. 7 out of 10. The movie almost did its job. Janet got it, but most people didn't. Most people got what Bruce got out of it. Yeah, and that's another thing. From the few people that I got to talk to since last week, when I was telling people I missed, because we skipped the weekend that we were supposed to do it because I had to go out of town, talking to people about the movie, and they were like, well, this, that, and the other. They were talking about it, and a lot of people got the same thought. I was like, how did so many people think of that when I didn't get that out of it at all? It's just funny to me how two people can be sitting side by side watching the exact same movie and have two totally different, get something totally opposite out of it. That's interesting to me.
But for the other aspect of this movie is, for me, this movie is not written with the G.I. Jane as the focal point. The movie is actually a very good focal point as to, these are your elected officials. They're trying to kill off your daughters so they can get reelected and have perpetual wars.
That's what I got from the politicians.
Somebody at the CIA really said, yeah, well, let's make it. Nobody will see this. Nobody will catch this for years. And they would have been happy to have G.I. Jane get slaughtered. And for what he got out of it, Grumpy says amended it. It's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm giving it. And but you know what? I really wish I'm going to start looking to see, or you can do it too for me, Bruce. See if we can find the other ending. I would love to see, to take it from the part where they both leave the beach, and then go out there and go from that to the ending. I would love to see the different ending, to see how much that might change my thought process on the part that I thought was bogus. You know what I mean? That I thought was really like, why did they do that? Because that didn't make any sense, because she was supposed to be second in command, because she was in there. What was it? What did he say? 30 days longer or something like that over the other guy. So I don't know. I would just like, I just really would like to see the ending, the original ending that was supposed to be in this movie, that the audience liked. You know, the audience liked it. The test audiences wanted the other ending, and Disney wouldn't give it to us. So I don't know. I would like to see it. It really does make me want to see it really bad, to see it, how much that would have changed the overall story, because the script was leading up to that ending, not this one. And we have to
you can further your career in the Navy, journey into the wild blue laundry, says Pinochet.
Okay.
Go ahead, Janet.
I was just gonna, because Grumpy Old Ninja wrote 7 out of 10, because he was talking about that almost did the job. Well, it did to me. It did. It filled all the gaps for me when it came to the romantic part. When she went back home after she used the bat and broke the bat on the bell, and she went home and got to see him, and they got to make love and whatever, get all that frustration out. But he showed her what he thought was the truth about the facts and who was sending it, because the only reason he knew is because he'd been sending it all that stuff and giving it to his boss to keep an eye on what was going on. And I was proud of him for wanting her to see the truth. So it gave her that opportunity to see how she would deal with it, because that's all she said she wanted. Remember from the beginning was, I would like to have had the opportunity to make the choice myself. And I just like that. And to me, that was a very good arc for their relationship for this movie. So to me, I thought the director did an excellent job at letting each of the characters be who they're supposed to be in this movie. And she ended, and Anne Bancroft, boy, she ended up being a total bitch. And I loved it. The part where she went to the door, she puts her hand on the door and everybody's looking, you know, and going, what the fuck's going on? Because they know that something's up. But Demi Moore's character said, you know, I'm just going to see how they feel about it. I'll talk to the press. So she got what she wanted, but she had to play hardball at the last minute. That showed me that she was cool under pressure, and that she was willing to take on the big dogs to get something accomplished. I liked it. I thought that was a really good character arc for her character. In this, see, little things like that is what I liked about this movie. It wasn't just the fact that it was a woman that was going to be a Navy SEAL, because I didn't know she was going to be a Navy SEAL. I didn't know she was even going to make it through the whole thing until I saw the whole movie. But the fact that they said, you know, they pushed the fact, to me, it was the highest on the totem pole, was the fact that they said that it should be fair for all. I mean, if a woman wants to do it, then she should be able to do it on a man's level. And I thought that was good. So that wasn't the whole movie.
That's completely your good opinion, and you can stand by it. That's completely all right. I want us to disagree. We don't have to agree on everything, and God, that'd be a boring ass world if we did. Six Nation says, I didn't dig the film when I saw it on VHS. It's got a handful of scenes that were very cool. Actors, cinematography was good. Script seems very pushed. Like many of you have stated, it was fiction 20%. Ooh, he rated it lower than I did.
Well, she thought it was pretty good, like I did. She probably saw it the same way I did then. You know, or similar.
And he kind of feels the same I did. Like, I'm not hating on the actors or much, but it just there feels like there's an agenda behind this film that I just absolutely
there was. We now know it now, because once you told me, or we got on there and I found out that they had changed the ending to make it happy, or, you know, to push the agenda of the Silver Heart, or what was it? The Silver cross thing
Mhm.
and to make it so she lived because she was going to die. So she died doing what she believed in and she achieved because she worked her ass off to get it. You know what I mean? That whole thing I think would have been even a better ending. And I can see why these people that said, hey, you know, this is what we liked. We liked the other ending. And you know, it's just sad to me that they're able to take it and cut stuff up that could be really good, but make it something else or give it a different ending or different perspective or pushy agenda, just like you guys are saying. So I can understand where you guys are coming from a little more. It's just that when I was watching it for the very first time, I didn't see it that way. But see, was your first time watching it, right?
Yeah, I've never seen this movie before in my life. My
So
mom and I, when this movie came out, there was 97. G.I. Jane was, I believe this movie was advertised during the Easter season of 97, if I'm remembering right, because I went and saw the Titanic again with my mom and my girlfriend at the time.
mhm.
And they advertised this, and
I
my
didn't go
mom
see Titanic. My sisters all did. They all, I want to see that one. I didn't.
I like to pretend that Leonardo DiCaprio dies in the first act of the movie, but it whatever, he dies no matter what. And I just enjoy the fact that there's one scene that's absolutely wonderful and brutal where a man falls off the boat and he smashes his knees on the propeller and he makes that loud "Dong!" And I
That
just
sounds
every time
horrible.
that's almost a happier sound for me than go ahead, Mr. Kinney, threaten Ed 209. And Mr. Kinney threatens the Ed 209, and the Ed 209 pops up and threatens Mr. Kinney with his fucking dual auto cannons or dual fucking cannons on the sides of his fucking robot arms. And then he shoots the shit out of Mr. Kinney, and it's the greatest fucking movie ever because that's RoboCop. Well, almost greatest movie ever. That's RoboCop. It's not better than Big Trouble in Little China, but damn, doesn't it ever try. Anyway, my excuse is I hang out with veterans in tinfoil hats. My views are all messed up. Nah, you're good. You're good.
Let's go, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. I think this movie's with the
Sorry,
right
I'm blowing- had
with
to
the
blow my
right
nose.
it would have been something I enjoyed, but this is not what I enjoyed. I absolutely this is my new low watermark. This is like
This
what
is you like this less than you liked the Western that I picked with all the bad girls.
Bad Girls is just marginally better than this.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
because they had
Okay,
to
I
do
can
something.
see it.
They had to spend money on horse trainers. They had to spend money to get the girls to look good riding horses. They did great costuming. The costuming cost more money because it's period piece. The sets were really good. Most of the cinematography, I think, in Bad Girls was shit, but the
Yeah.
cinematography, the scenes were nice, but the action and the script suck. But that's still a 40% out of 100 for me.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what you gave it, but I just remember how much you didn't like the movie. But oh well, you know that's okay. We don't have to agree. I didn't like the Meat Train movie either, Terror Train or whatever it was called. So
Midnight Meat Train with
yeah,
Bradley
Midnight
Cooper
Meat
and
Train.
Brooke Shields.
But you know, I like some of it. You know, some parts of it, but the story overall and everything I didn't. So I can understand. I think it's great. I'm glad I got to hear your perspective of it though, because I
I
heard other people kind of was similar to what you were saying, but not exactly. I mean, they weren't as adamant about hating it. as
I
much.
want to like this movie because this movie is actually a realistic representation of our government in action. They want you
Yeah,
to send your
definitely.
kids off and get killed.
Mhm.
That's what they want. They want to be hired on for the next election, and they want to have perpetual wars. And that's just
And the way that she said that part, when she said that part to Demi Moore about you know, we don't want to see a bunch of dead women with their guts displayed on TV, you know, like that. She wasn't worried about the people dying at all. She was just worrying about how the polls would look on her if they had women dead, you know, on TV. So yeah, to me, the whole thing that Anne Bancroft was able to do with the political point of view on how government shouldn't, you know, they're pushing their agenda in our military and everything else, it's spot on. And that's exactly how I look at the military and our government right now. You know, I just despise them. I think they're all disgusting losers that could care less about all the people that work hard to pay taxes so that they can do some of the stupid shit that they're doing. And it just makes me sick to my stomach. So yeah, I thought she was excellent. And she was the definitely right up there at the top of one of the best parts of the movie, to make it believable to me, because she was such a good actress at playing a horrible politician. So yeah, it's believable to me, that whole thing.
I have found the best example of how I want to see a Mexican standoff start, and we have it going on right now.
With what? In the military?
Drew, the Patriot journalist, is showing us in Philadelphia. The Free Palestine protesters are blocking the Philly parade, the Pride parade. So you have the Free Palestine fucks, and you have the Pride parade fucks, and they're all fucking together in the traffic, and they're having a little bit of a problem. It's kind of nice.
Wow.
They're not letting them through.
And nobody's getting arrested or anything. They can just block traffic and do whatever they want, just like government always does.
It would be much
as
better
long as you're on their agenda. As long as your agenda is the same as the government's, and they'll kiss your ass and let you do whatever you want.
A couple steamrollers over there off this parade route.
I wish we could follow some of these people. I guarantee they're getting paid for by our government to be there.
Oh, they are completely getting paid by the government.
Mm-hmm. I would like to go through the what is that called online? The Craigslist. I guarantee a bunch of them were all hired by Craigslist.
Yeah, they're on $25 an hour on subsidy.
Yeah, on both sides. They're there to give me a check. That's it. That's
what's going on. We're getting a request
paid for by us with our tax dollars. Do what?
We're gonna get requested to do the General's Daughter, so we'll do that for the end of Patriot Month.
I think I've seen that one too.
I think I have as well. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah, put it on the list. Oh, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. My mother used to make us watch the one with the guy from the Sheep movie. You know, the one where he's like, "Don't go to sleep, Clarice," or whatever. What was that guy? Anthony Hopkins is the Hunchback. Mm-hmm. That's the one my mom would make us watch every New Year's Day. We had to watch a Hunchback of Notre Dame with Anthony Hopkins in it. I think it was on TV on the weekend or something. I don't remember. I don't even know if she had it on VHS or whatever, but she would want us to watch it. She thought it was a great movie. Is that the one he's wanting us to watch? The same one?
I don't think so.
I mean, how many have been made? So it's like Six Nations. Which one would you want us to watch? Tree Rock says he can't stop laughing. What's he laughing at? I wonder.
Maybe all the gays and the Palestinian protesters bumping.
Yeah, I forgot. I was like, geez, you got to be kidding it. Our country is just in bad shape right now. I'm just, not too good a look for us. We got Weekend at Bernie's in the White House and got this chaos in the streets. Like, Jesus, we need some praying going on. You know what I'm saying? The Crafting Gamer is a member for 7 months.
Oh, wow.
That was nice of him. He's a sweetheart. That ain't the Disney version.
Thank you so much to Crafting Gamer for being part of us for 7 months and doing that. You don't have to, and I appreciate it. I wish I had more time to do a member stream. I think a member stream would be badass.
Mm-hmm. It would be fun. But we've done a lot of scary movies, haven't we?
A few.
Papa said Late Night with the Devil is an awesome movie.
Huh.
I never
Demi had a larger role in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah, she did. She was actually they celebrated that. They celebrated her performance in that movie so hard. I thought Miramax was gonna completely just go off the gourd and completely be like, oh my God, look, it's Demi Moore and she's in the studio. And she's there with her hair up in curlers and wearing sweatpants or scrubs and just having a ball, making her
I
fucking
haven't seen
doll.
that. I haven't seen that Hunchback of Notre Dame, so that would be one we could watch because I haven't seen
City
it.
of Lost Children.
But I've met him. I've met Ron Perlman.
I've heard he's different.
He I just saw him for like 2 minutes. So he's real tall, and he was really nice. You know, he smiled, a real big smile, and shook hands and stuff. So it was
It's
pretty
supposed to
nice.
be a good movie. I'm looking up the City of Lost Children real quick.
But there was something else on there I was wanting to ask about. Shit, just give me a second.
Here's all. City of Lost Children is directed by Marc Caro and Jean-Pierre Jeunet, which it's a French movie, science fantasy film. Ron
Yeah, I
Perlman,
know- I've
Nick
seen it.
Pignon, Jean-Claude Dreyfus, Bradley Moss. Okay, we will definitely watch this. Thank you, The Crafting Gamer. You didn't have to do that, but we're going to watch it. You want to come with us and comment on it that day? We'd be more than happy to have you in the studio.
Yeah, it's fun. Oh, he was in Quest for Fire. Wasn't that with Daryl Hannah too? Wasn't she in that? That was
Is that a
long
Planet
time
Cave Girl?
Yeah, it was like a cave movie or something with cave people. We still got to do Caveman. That's a good comedy. It's really stupid, but it's a funny movie to watch. You keep saying we're going to watch it. We haven't seen that one yet either.
August 11th for the City of Lost Children.
Okay. So put that on your calendar, Crafting Gamer. Don't plan anything.
If that's not a good date for you, let me know. We'll get you in here to do that with us.
Clan of the Cave Bear. Okay.
Yes.
That was a Ray Dong Chong. Okay. I was totally messed up, but I was just trying to remember what it was. But I thought there was a cave movie with Daryl Hannah in it.
Yep.
Was there?
I think it was Clan of the Cave Bear was one with Daryl Hannah, I thought.
No, he says it's Ray Don Chong. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up now. But I thought it was Daryl Hannah too, but yeah. I'd have to look it up. I mean, I don't have that kind of stuff memorized because I wasn't involved in it or anything. So no, my favorite movie with Daryl Hannah is still the one with Kill Bill. I thought she was so good in that movie with her patch over her eye and shit. I thought it was a good movie.
Not a bad film.
No, I mean Daryl Hannah's character, how she portrayed it and stuff in that movie. I thought
she was nasty in that film.
I know. I just loved her, see her that way. She wasn't a dumb blonde. You know what I mean? She was a badass. I liked it.
Daryl Hannah was in Clan of the Cave Bear. That's what I thought. Quest for Fire is Ray Don Chong.
Okay, so I was right and he was right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe and we got the City of Lost Children. That is coming on August 11th. General's Daughter on July 28th. The Girl, a Guy in a Movie for the History of Violence on the 14th of July. June 30th is Idiocracy. And next week, we are watching Flash Gordon, The Greatest Adventure.
And that's animated.
Yes, The Greatest Adventure of All. I want to say it's like early 1980 when they made that, but because of the cartoon that was on Saturday mornings, they saved it. And there was that was the movie that was originally spawned off by Filmation's Lou Scheimer, that Dino De Laurentiis was having a hard time getting a Flash Gordon movie started. So Lou Scheimer's like, I got friends. And Dino De Laurentiis, apparently he didn't at the time. So Lou Scheimer, a animation and live action film studio for television, got
Yeah.
the Flash Gordon movie greenlit for Dino, and so Dino was like, awesome. And Lou Scheimer's a big fan of Flash Gordon, and he's like, I have an idea. I want to do a cartoon, and so they put a cartoon on CBS Mornings that ran for like 3 seasons, I guess, and had some really good animation. And then they made this really cool movie, which is kind of a remake of the TV series, but it's about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. Really good storyline, probably the best Flash Gordon you'll ever watch.
I've never heard of it. So
Yeah, the Flash Gordon
I'll
Greatest
try it.
Adventure of All. It's the best Flash Gordon you'll ever watch. Even Clobberin Times agrees with me on that.
we'll
We
have
were
to send him
doing-
an invite and let him come in and watch it with us in Discord if he wants. Hey, that's a great idea. Did you see what he said?
Special edition movie chosen and voted by members. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great.
so that would be your membership one. You know what I mean? We'll
Mhm.
do something like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That sounds that. I mean, that meets it more. Around your channel type thing. I think it's good. Great idea.
Quest of Fire, Save Lost Children, and Hellboy.
Mhm.
He says I'll be here. That's the 11th of August. Favorite movie is still Splash.
Mhm.
My favorite movie with Daryl Hannah is still Blade Runner. Splash is good, but I like Blade Runner so much
Yeah,
more.
I dressed up as her for that movie. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Buster Crab. Oh, I love Buster Crab. You know, he was in the live action Buck Rogers TV show during
Mm.
his brief run. I think it was the first season he was there. Really good stuff.
Well, I think if the cartoon is better, then I'm gonna really like it then because I loved the movie. I thought it was great. The music, is it got music and everything in it too?
Not the level of music that Queen brings, but for Filmation's budget, they did a really good job with the music. I think
I'm
this
excited about
movie,
watching it.
I think it'll hold up a lot better than Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is everything but a script. And
Yeah, I thought it was breathtakingly beautiful. I mean, artwork. It was just gorgeous. I mean, that stuff you could take out and have a person put it on your wall, and frame it and have it in your house. It was just beautiful. It just didn't have the story was shit. It didn't have a story. But you just said that today about this one almost. So it does happen. You can have everything great except one thing and it ruins, just ruins it. That's normal. That happens in this industry. That's why there's only one movie a year that wins an Academy Award, because that's why it's supposed to be that way.
I think this movie had a lot of promise. I think this movie could have been a lot better. It's sad that this is what we got. And with the level,
Well, I don't want to remake that movie now. Right now, in the time that we're living in, hell no. It would. It'd be 10 times worse.
with the level of retardation that Hollywood scripts have right now,
Oh yeah. Mm-mm.
I don't even like watching the shorts or the TikTok shorts or the YouTube shorts of current military members, because I'll see something in the background that just makes my autism spike the fuck out, and I'm like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
like my why am I paying for this, And I just I sorry kids, like you should have been swallowed, and that's just kind of where it goes. Like, I can't believe this is what's defending us. If we get invaded, we're gonna die unless we have a fucking platoon of old bastards like the 11th Infantry Division.
You mean like us?
Yeah,
All
it's got to be like 40-year-old people or better.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna have to be something like that. I don't know what we're gonna do. Thank God we're so far away from most countries. Oh, that's what I say.
I think if we get in a scrap, I think it's going to be the older people that save us, because there's too many people that they don't know how to take care of a rifle. They don't know how to reload a pistol properly without jamming up
They
everything.
can't even drive an old pickup truck.
Yeah,
They can't drive a stick shift.
no, they can't.
Most people. I mean, it's like a Jeep. A military Jeep. You have to be able to drive a stick.
if you haven't watched it yet, our good friend, I wish he was a good friend of mine. God, I love this man. He's almost a generation younger than me. The Fat Electrician has a video called Old Age and Treachery, the Unstoppable 77th Infantry Division. So if you guys have ever seen that movie about the cautious dissenter, the kid that didn't fucking arm himself, but he still got stuck over in, I believe it was Pacific, Desmond Doss, and he didn't want to ever shoot a gun. He never wanted to, but he wanted to go and be part of the unit, and he ended up getting Medal of Honor because he saved so many guys and hauled their asses up the side of a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
And he was part of the 77th, and the 77th was like the test group, and they recruited this group of guys. They drafted a bunch of men, average age like 33 or 35. But the link is in the chat right there. Go check this out and learn something.
Yeah, it is a really good movie.
And this right here is a video that it's not that long. It's about 41 minutes, 42 minutes. And you get to learn about how older guys take a lot more things seriously than 18-year-old kids going in the military. And the fucking Marine Corps said that's the Marine Division 77th. They don't give compliments for the shit. The Marine Corps does two things really good. They eat crayons and they blow up things and kill people. And they do destruction and they eat crayons. And they don't do compliments. But when they call that fucking 77th a Marine Corps division, that's the highest compliment you can ever get from a fucking devil dog. And you watch that video and you'll learn something. And hopefully you subscribe to this guy. He's a hell of a historian. He's going to college right now and he's trolling his history class and all the classmates because he just pisses off liberals left and right. The big mission for him is he's a guy that he wants to be a historian. He wants to write the books. He wants to write the books your grandkids read so they understand America doesn't suck. The revisionists have gotten in since World War II, and every time they have a chance to fucking blackball America, make America look bad, we lost Korean War, we lost the Vietnam War, we lost this, we did that, we fucked up everything we touched. And they try to ruin our capitalist way of society because they're fucking communists. And I want this guy to fucking make it so hard. So go check him out. Old Age and Treachery, this is the Unstoppable 77th Division. You learned something.
I'm pasting that in my chat real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, because somebody said something about them wanting it in your chat or in my chat. So I think that's what they asked for. So hopefully I did it.
You guys check this out. That is a great video. For you people on Twitter that don't know this guy and his cadre of friends, they're good people to listen to and just hang out with on their podcast. They have the Unsubscribed podcast. He comes down to San Antonio a little bit, but they do some great things, and they've done a lot of work for the local vet community and for veterans across country. My name is Bruce. Janet, do you have anything coming up here that you're going to be doing in the near future?
Wednesday. I don't know the exact time right this second. I think it's 7 Central Time. But I will be posting it. Tolbat and I are going to do another UFO mysteries, but we'll be talking about other things too, not just UFOs, mystery stuff, have to do with unidentified whatever, ghosts or, whatever it is, just types of mysteries. And that's going to be Wednesday night. So that'll be fun. And then Thursday night, I'm going to do the Team Shit Show, and then Friday night Shit Show again. So that's all I've got going on. So the next few days I'm going to have off. So if anybody wants to give me a chat or whatever, to send me a message on, we can talk in Spaces or we can hang out on Discord, whatever, just let me know.
My name is Bruce Lombardo, and on Saturdays I run a very long D&D game for my friends, and I do a live stream of it. Janet's part of that, along with some other really great people that are already here in chat, like Six Nations 31 Kings, the Crafting Gamer, Lady is part of that, and that'll happen in 2 weeks. Next week, Janet will be hanging out with a bunch of high-level Pathfinder players as they try to get through this campaign that's lasted for over 4 years, and I wish them luck. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. This was a lot of fun. I'm sorry that I didn't like the movie as much as other people may have. I got out of the movie some different things than everyone else, but I really hope that our commentary was entertaining. And if there's any questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments. We'll be more than happy to talk to you about that at the start of next episode. As a final, my shout out today goes to Baby Girl. Thank you so much for giving us happy comments at the end of every video on these comment sections. And if you guys have the chance, please go do something with your family. You don't know when some emergency is going to happen. Give them a hug. Go spend some quality time with them. Give your mom and dad a call if they're still around, or your grandparents, because we're not guaranteed anything, especially tomorrow.
That's right.
Good night, everybody.
Night.